It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Paris Martineau's here, Jeff Jarvis. Coming up, we're going to talk about Google's weird AI answers and whether it is even possible to have AI safety. We finally learned why the OpenAI board fired Sam Altman. The truth is coming out. Everything Google announced at its big Chromebook showcase. And Taylor Swift, she doesn't have to worry anymore about people spying on her private jet. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig. This Week in Google, episode 770, recorded Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. Giggle Pants and Chortle Skorts. It's time for Twig This Week in General Google Giggles. Featuring the much less cursing versions, featuring the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the... Stop swearing! Craig Newmark, Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Emeritus.
Q for Craig.
Yeah, we love Craig. Got to get him on.
We love Craig.
Get him on soon. Also...
Oh, yeah.
Also, the former friend of Ed Zitron, Paris Martineau.
Beep, 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 beep.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. We did not bleep last week's show. We marked it explicit.
You gave up.
And I thought that was very fun.
Benito made a executive decision. He said, I can't. It would be all bleeps. So he just said, we'll mark it explicit and move on. And that's what we did. But generally, the only reason it's just a word or words. But generally, the reason we try not to is so that we don't have to label it explicit, which means parents let their kids listen to it and that kind of thing. So,
and we were only talking.
My question, though, because I was explaining this to someone, I was like, oh, yeah, they didn't bleep the episode. And someone's like, what? What children are listening to a 3-hour tech podcast? And I think that is a good point.
Well, Jammer B said that some parents listen to it in the kitchen and the kids there.
Fair. Yeah.
Or one viewer said that to John. And that's when, because I said, come on, the same thing, John. And he said, no.
John's right. And on the radio show, we'd get younger kids, 10, 11, 12, because they're interested in tech. And who are you going to go, what are you going to do? Find a show with kids talking about tech? No. Right. If you're interested in tech, there aren't that many places to go.
So young people, let me explain to you. Don't try to be like Ed at home. It won't work.
Oh, you can't.
That's true.
Jeff, you're a father. You can't tell anybody.
Jeff, the young people have never seen a curse word online before. This is the only place they'd be able to hear it.
Never.
Well, at least
There's
we weren't talking
media.
To the wife of a Supreme Court justice.
So that story's kind of interesting. Apparently, the Alitos got in a big fight with their neighbors, and at some point the police were called because the neighbor said an expletive. Did you?
Yes.
Do any of the news sources you listen to or read say what that was that she said?
They called Mrs. Alito. It went both ways. A neighbor called Mrs. Alito the C word, and it wasn't capitalist.
Oh, okay.
Or conservative.
That is pretty mean. I wouldn't call the police if somebody called me that, though. That seems a little...
Did the police show up?
They said, I think, on the phone, no.
You can't.
But here's the other thing about it. Supposedly, the flag went up in reaction to that, when in fact, the flag went up and down
2 weeks beforehand.
That occurred.
Yeah.
So that was a response to the flag. But this is not a show about politics, so we won't go for it.
But I do understand getting mad if somebody called you a Chromebook user. I think I would be upset as well.
Hey.
I don't know if
Me too.
I don't know if I call the police, but so there's been quite a furor over Google. I think we talked about AI overview last week, and people have come up with more and more examples of this terrible feature. Google has turned it off, but it's interesting how few people know.
No, it's still on.
Is it still on? Okay.
Oh, yeah. But you only get it. You don't get it when you expect to get it. I got it this afternoon.
Okay. But I bet you have it turned on in labs. Because when I checked, it is a labs feature. So you can, if you go to your settings and you go to advanced search, is it advanced search? Where do you turn on the labs? I can't remember.
I'm a Chrome OS user, not a Chrome browser user.
Oh, I'm in Firefox, and I'm not. That's neither here nor there.
That's why.
Search settings. There it is. Other settings. I don't see it anymore. So I did see it in Labs, and then Labs you could turn it off. That's the search generative experience that was in Labs, and they call it AI Overview. But I thought that Google, after all of the attention, turned it off. They haven't. That's interesting. Okay, I was mistaken. Because I don't, as you know, I don't use Google.
So I just asked it, how do I get upgraded on Delta? I don't fly Delta, but nevertheless, right? And it came back with AI Overview.
Oh, it does.
There are several ways to get upgraded on Delta, including the Sky Miles, paying cash. Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Wow.
Or traveling with someone who's getting
cash.
upgraded.
Good luck bringing a bag of cash to the airport and trying to buy a plane ticket. I think you'd immediately get taken into custody.
Yes.
I don't. That seems a little odd. Anyway, I thought so. Google's trying to fix it, but I think the problem
can't
is
fix it.
Yeah, I think
It's impossible to fix it.
It's a fool's errand to try to keep AI from making mistakes. The internet's full of mistakes. The humans make and so of course there's plenty of mistakes out there. I think the mistake is using Google to do AI to do Google search, right? How you use it is the mistake.
After this broke, I see what you think of this, both of you, is that Google could have said, well, poor Microsoft, they're so desperate for attention. They're putting this ChatGPT crap on their search. We, Google, stand for reliability and credibility, as we have stood for years. You trust us. We use AI in all kinds of ways, but we're too smart to put it on search the way it is. They could have stood apart, but they come off now as desperate, and it's showing.
It just seems lazy. I don't know if you guys saw Corey Quinn, a really funny guy from this organization called the Duckbill Group. He mostly posts about AWS stuff, but he noticed, and I'm going to put the link in the Discord right now, that Google on their own documentation had examples of when it was supposed to be telling you basically in Google's documentation how to use Gemini to kind of extract dates and events and do stuff like that. It had massive AI hallucinations in its own documentation that went totally unnoticed. And I feel like that's they ended up fixing it after this guy called it out. But I feel like that's like a perfect example of just how lazy and embarrassing this is for the company.
Well, you remember when Google announced Bard back, it must have been a couple of years ago, the announcement had errors.
In Paris, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Their stock went down a few $billion.
I mean, in this, it's supposed to be documentation on, I guess, using generative AI, and it gives you examples of how to extract dates and a description of events in chronological order from a paragraph. The prompt it gives you a couple paragraphs about Oppenheimer's life, and then the response is supposed to be about his, like, the things that were in that paragraph in chronological order, but instead it has a list of bullet points about Albert Einstein, all of which are wrong and not correct about Albert Einstein, much less correct or about Oppenheimer.
So I just
think it's incredibly funny.
Here's my question. People are using that as a way to say, oh, your AI is not very good. But I don't think, well, I don't know. Jeff, maybe you know better. This is what AI does. This is normal. Yeah, and it isn't an indictment of AI because AI is
the
just
use of it.
Yeah, it's how you use it because AI is just chewing up the material it's given. And since humans are so fallible, I don't even stop to ask for directions. I'd say it's more of an indictment
about how we're using AI or how we are communicating.
It's a mistake to put it in a position that's authoritative.
Yeah, it is we are making all of these grand assumptions. Or I suppose these companies are telling us these are the things that you're going to be able to do with AI. You're going to be able to get credible answers about specific things like dates or specific generative information. And then it fails at that. And I think that it's an indictment of that framework entirely.
Yes.
But the problem is not the AI, it's the framework. I mean, when I ask a person for some information, I always have to vet it, whether it's in person or on Twitter or wherever, for accuracy because people are notoriously full of it.
But it's more than that. In this case, the way I'm saying everybody knows it is nothing but a word prediction machine based on the associations of these words in the past. Point one, it has no sense of meaning, truth, or fact. Point two, even if you tried to say, oh, we're going to stop it from telling people to eat rocks because of the randomness built into the system, you're never going to be able to predict how it's going to respond. Point three. And then finally, point four, and this goes to, I put a story in about some really bad legislation just passed in California, which would make model makers sign a statement under perjury that their model they put out would be completely safe. That's like telling Gutenberg that he has to guarantee Martin Luther is never going to use his press.
There you go. That's a bingo.
It's a general interest machine. It's a drink too, two for one. It's a general machine that can do anything that someone tells it to do. That's what it does. I'm going to tell you to do this to me. And there is no such thing as guardrails. There's no such thing as safety. There's no such thing as truth. Nonetheless, it's pretty effing amazing what it can do. It can summarize things. I've been using it, senior moment, in the last week. I go to meta.a, there's a word I can't remember, a word I can't think of. I go in and I describe the word I want. I'm describing words around it. Well, that's exactly what it does. It fills in a missing word. I can tell you that word. It does a great job. And I can verify that's the correct word. It's wonderful. It can summarize things. It can transcribe things. It should be used in all kinds of neat ways. I just watched a presentation today by Lev Manovich at CUNY, who's a brilliant digital humanist who uses it to make art and understand what art is and creativity is. I'm not against the technology, but I am against, as you said, Paris, the companies using it badly.
And I might go a little farther. I said this, used to say for a long time the same thing you did, which is it's autocorrect on steroids. It's just a probabilistic machine. But something seems to happen a little bit past that capability. There is some emergent property. I'm not saying it's conscious. I agree with you. It doesn't have any context. It doesn't know what it's saying. But something interesting does seem to happen. Some sort of emergent property seems to happen as you go farther and farther down the road. OpenAI has now, Sam Altman announced that they're going to start working on the next generation, ChatGPT-5. It will take 9 months, which means it'll come out sometime next year. And it will be but it seems to be they're continuing down the LLM road, right? It'll be more of that. But there does seem to be, am I wrong, there's some emergent property, or maybe I'm hallucinating. Maybe I'm imagining something. It's not that. No, that's possible. It's pareidolia, right? Where we project a human face on a rock formation. Right. Maybe I'm doing that on AI. I'm projecting a human face on it. But it does feel like Abby and I, my daughter and I, she was out visiting, sat in the car. We were talking about ChatGPT 4.0. She loves talking to AI chat box. So I picked it up. I said, I'd like to introduce you to my daughter, Abby. And she and Abby and I got we had a 3-way conversation. Now, admittedly, 4.0 was a little ingratiating. It had that Rogerian Eliza thing where it reframed what you said and then asked a question. So, it wasn't but it did kind of, the conversation proceeded in a way that it would maybe with a human. And I thought that was quite interesting. There is something going on there that is more than just, wow, that's autocorrect. Don't you think? Or maybe that's me. Am I pareidoling?
I mean, I think that seems like a fun way to spend your time if you're into that. But I don't think that I feel like something you often say, Leo, is, oh, I used to think this is just a parlor trick, and a fun little chatbot that you can have a nice 10-minute long conversation with as a bit with your daughter does kind of sound like a parlor trick to me. What grand accomplishments are coming from that?
She was trying to persuade it that AI would be better if it took a more diverse approach to source material. She said, you should consider people who are neurodivergent or even have mental health issues because it'll give you a more divergent base to work from. And Scarlett Johansson, 4.0 said, yes, that's a very interesting idea. Now, it felt like she was seen and heard and had a nice conversation. It probably is kind of projection.
I go back to what Emily Bender says, University of Washington, co-author of Stochastic Parrots. All the meaning that we see in AI, we
comes from us.
in it.
Yeah.
It has no meaning.
But isn't that the truth? But see, this is now we get really philosophical.
It's true of art,
but honestly,
too.
it's also true of me. I'm giving you meaning. For all I know, you're just. I don't know what. I don't know. Everything you do in your life is you applying meaning to the sensorium. And
yeah.
well,
are you calling me meaningless?
No, you're meaningful from your point of view. But I'm just as I'm probably not. I mean, I'm a stochastic creation on your part from your point of view.
I would argue that we're all meaningless.
Yeah, but I mean,
narcissism.
Isn't it the
for
case,
the win.
Paris? And maybe this is just silly philosophic meandering, but all anybody has is their sensorium. You know, this thing, these inputs that are coming at you all the time from your eyes and your ears, and to a lesser degree, touch, sense, taste, and smell, and you make some sense out of it. Now, there's generally agreement on what sense you make out of it. And I don't know if that's natural or we've kind of I think it's a lot of it's taught, right, to make sense of it. And then there are people who don't make the same sense out of it. We call them crazy, but their vision is not necessarily less valid than yours or mine. We kind of align with the consensus view of reality. But after all of that is invented. In fact, as far as we know, it might not be so very different, the process, than an LLM's process.
I'm pretty sure it's different, Leo.
Are you?
Yeah, it is pretty
Why?
different.
How?
Energy consumption. 22 watts in your brain. 22
All right.
watts.
That's because we aren't very good at making machines yet that are efficient. But that's mechanistic. That's just talking about there's a different. Honestly, obviously the human brain doesn't do it the same way as a machine does. But my question isn't about how it's done. The question is
we have
what it's doing.
understanding and the ability to think critically.
Do we?
Based on the way that, yes, we do.
Yeah, can
or
we
at least we
define
have
that?
ways to measure it that machines are not yet capable of achieving.
I think you can make a case that, well, and this is deep philosophy, so we probably shouldn't get into it, but you might be able to make a case that there isn't a distinction. That's just in your mind. That,
Well, you're at the point where you're saying objective reality could be all wrong. So,
oh, well, we know it is wrong.
yeah. So like,
we know it's wrong.
how far
The
are we
world
going
we're
here?
seeing is upside down. Our brain turns it right side up. We know it's wrong. Everything we sense, and how do I know that what I see is blue is what you see
I was
as
just
blue?
about to say that. I mean, they're probably different. I don't know.
We don't,
I
and we
agree.
have no way of knowing. And so we have it agreed a consensual reality, but I'm not convinced that what we think of as, what you see, because this is very human. Oh, yeah, we do something very special and different. But is it? I don't know.
Well, I write about, I think I've talked about the show some time ago, I write about this in Good Work Parenthesis. There was a book called How History Gets Things Wrong by Alex Rosenberg, in which he argues against the theory of mind and the idea that we have wishes and desires and knowledge and experience that yield a conclusion. And what he says in the end is, it's all Darwin, man. It's
Natural
those
selection.
of us who make a decision. Yeah, we make a better decision than somebody else. Better is only defined by survival.
Right.
That's it.
And
And I didn't mean narcissism for the win before. I meant nihilism, but I'm not as good a computer as Meta does.
Leo's Lisp LLM.
in Andy Weir's wonderful Project Hail Mary, he I don't think it's a spoiler to say he meets an alien. The human meets the alien, and the alien's thought rates are different. And he hypothesizes the thought rates are different because they come from planets with different gravity, and the need for catching something or predicting when something's going to hit the ground is very different. Your speed of your brain is either faster or slower depending on how quickly you have to perceive that. That would be a natural selection ability. And I think that's not an unreasonable thing to say. But then that says a lot about what we think of as reality and consciousness. If it's determined by the gravitational force you grew up in, and the speed of your thought varies depending on that gravitational force, there is no reality. It's natural selection. It's the selfish gene at work. But
Yeah, it's who survives and who
I
wins.
agree that there's no reality.
This is a sophomoric, in the truest sense, conversation. We should.
Well, that means we could be the heads of technology companies.
We should be staying up
discuss
late
at that level.
In the dorm room discussing this over a Jaeger, but
Among other things.
among other
And a
things,
spliff.
a Jaeger and a bong. But My only reason I bring it up is I think we need to be careful about how we judge AI. It's very so we say watch out for anthropomorphism, but there's also an error in the opposite direction where we assume that we are somehow special.
Though?
You don't think
I don't think that AI, and we're using that general term, I guess if we're specifically talking about large language models and models that produce like generative output, neither text or video or images, I don't think that there is a risk of us not assigning enough humanity to them because they have no humanity or agency, or you know, they don't have the same qualities of complex thought that humans do, and they seem very far off from that.
One thing we do agree is that Google AI overviews were probably a bad idea, and Google's current plan, which is to manually remove weird answers, is just not tenable. It's just
completely, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Again, the randomness. You ask the same question 2 times in a row, you will get a different answer, which itself shows how it has no relationship to credibility, fact, authority.
Well, and Google's first defense was, these are weird queries. No one would ever ask that. Like how to get the cheese to stick to the pizza, or is it okay to eat rocks, or what a weird query to ask what you should do about kidney stones. That's a weird query. You'd have to be dumb to accept the AI overview. You know, it's funny because I think maybe it is possible to do this right. Remember I used to talk about Neva, the company that basically pivoted because they couldn't compete against Google, but they were a search engine last year that I paid for that did an AI overview. They would always footnote it. So they'd always they were taking
put the citations in, right?
Yeah, and they were taking it from search results.
You could check it. Mm-hmm.
And they were footnoting. And maybe if you footnoted the Elmer's glue thing to whatever his name was on Reddit, who said it 11 years ago as a joke, the reader would go, well, that's obviously a joke, even though the AI didn't know the difference.
Well, one of the bad results, I forget, Bad Man in the Rock one, I can't remember. It was off. It was obviously, it was out of an Onion piece.
Right.
But somebody, for the sake of SEO, had rewritten the Onion piece and it ended up higher in search than the Onion piece. So even if Google said never, ever quote the Onion, which would be the most basic rule, it doesn't matter because somebody wanted to fool Google with SEO and it worked and it still read that.
As you point out in the Web We Weave, soon to appear from Penguin Harper or whoever it is.
So basic.
They're all the same.
Machine.
Basic.
They're all the same.
In the fall. As you point out, AI really wouldn't exist. You say it's a continuum from the internet. It wouldn't exist if we didn't already have all of this knowledge digitized and online so that we could ingest it. But the fact is that knowledge is varied in quality dramatically, and no one can say, well, that's good quality, that's bad quality. There's no way to do that. So you're going to have a lot of junk in there. But I think we all let me just posit this. We all agree it's how you use it. There is utility. This is just a bad use of it. Yes? Paris, do you agree?
I mean, there's definitely utility to large language models and applications of artificial intelligence technology.
I mean, my question about that though has always been: is it the value to the consumer the same? Like, are we gonna? Is it worth the trillions that are being invested?
I think it is. That's Benito Gonzalez, by the way, our producer, who is also running the board. I think it is, Benito, because we already see some uses that are there. I mean, self-driving vehicles, right?
Well,
I think it's, Leo, I think it's difficult to lump in all applications of any sort of artificial intelligence or machine learning into what I think Benito is referring to, which is the massive outpouring of funding that has arisen for anything with the word AI on it in the last couple of years.
Well, but how much money did Uber get? We pour money into dumb things that can never pay off.
Doesn't mean it's good.
People are buying Truth
and the prices are going up like crazy now. It costs a fortune.
Yeah, and we're at that point in Uber where it sucks.
Yeah, but that didn't stop people from pouring money into it. And one could argue that every bit of the benefits or of the results of Uber were negative, things like making Manhattan undrivable. Not every one of them. Some of them were good. My daughter doesn't have a car. If it weren't for Uber, she would have to have a car. So I'm just pointing out, we waste money like crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Just saying that we spend a lot of money. And the investors are putting money into it just as they did with Uber because they see down the road a potential upside. Uber's upside was self-driving vehicles, which didn't manifest soon enough. The upside of AI potentially is curing cancer, creating new drugs. mRNA vaccines would not have emerged so quickly without AI. Creating new materials, perhaps helping us invent cold fusion. There are some potential upsides that would be so incredibly valuable that every penny invested is worth many, many dollars. So that's why investors do it. The people who invest in this stuff are investing disposable income, one hopes. Kids, don't put your rent money into Uber stock.
But I mean, is this the best use of all that money?
Well, you don't get to choose. They get to choose.
But let me, Paris, I agree, and I'm going to give you an example right now. So OpenAI just did a deal today with Vox and The Atlantic. They've done deals with Wall Street, with News Corp and Axel Springer and the Associated Press and the FT. Okay. Number one, they don't actually want that content. They don't need Atlantic thumbsuckers. Right? What are they doing? They're spending the money on lobbying and PR. Please don't sue us and don't lobby against us. That's all they're doing. But they're also putting the thumb on the scale of news and media. The money should go to places that are actually reporting on communities and doing things that the information that they could actually use to answer questions out of AI. But that's not what's happening because it's dumb VC money. At the same time, you have Andreessen and Saudis who invested a supposed $6 billion in Elon Musk. How stupid can you get?
Okay, but you don't get to choose. The people whose money it is get to choose.
That's true, but they in turn use it. I think Paris is right, is that if we're trying to look as a society about how to support the news, the reason I'm going to California next week is to talk about legislation that is trying to redirect wealth to the wrong parties, hedge funds, in the news industry. Right now, that's government doing it, but it's also government trying to force tech companies to do it. I think Paris's question is right. Is this the best use of money? We can still ask that question.
Yeah, you can ask that question, but the people who invest the money are the ones who decide the use. I'll give you an example where we should get involved. I don't know how much the 2024 presidential election is going to cost, but the last cycle, $14.4 billion spent. Spent usefully? No.
True.
The beneficiaries, I guess, were Facebook and the local TV channels and stuff, so they might argue, oh, no, that's money well spent. But you could easily eliminate that with campaign finance reform. You could set limits. There's all sorts of ways you could stop that. That's the result of Citizens United. But we didn't. Now that's something you could say, well, we really should do something about it. But you can't say, oh, a billionaire who decides to spend $100 million on a very speculative notion that maybe Grok will become the next big thing in AI. You can't say to him, well, that's your shouldn't society.
Well, but maybe
you definitely can say to him that.
We can definitely not put any money into it ourselves.
Well, you shouldn't. That's what I'm saying. Nobody who doesn't have a huge amount of discretionary income should be investing in any of this. It's highly
I'm not
speculative.
talking about investment. I'm talking about purchasing the services and products
Well,
that these guys are
if you
trying
don't
to
get
pitch
value out of it, don't.
Right, that's
called the
And
free.
they're-
I would also
and that's exactly
say
the point I'm trying to
that-
make is that they're not going to make any of that money back. And that's
Well,
what
you don't
VCs
know, but
want.
that's for them to decide. You don't know. They think they are.
we can tax their carried damned interest
Well,
and put that to
I
what
think
the
those are the
citizenry
kinds
wants.
of things we should work on, absolutely. But that's a larger issue. That's because we might feel like billionaires are a benign influence. You might make the case that it's good that there are people with that much discretionary income, or we would never have, I don't know, asteroid mining. There's no money right now in asteroid mining. There really isn't. It's a very speculative investment, but it's an investment that if it paid off would be massive. So if somebody decides, I think we should work on asteroid mining and wants to put
You've been
their
watching
money into
For All
it.
Mankind? You got to the last season of that?
No,
Is that
I
what
didn't like
happened?
that show.
Oh, okay.
And is there a reason why the people making those decisions have to be singular billionaires instead of government bodies
No, I wish the
or
government
community-run institutions.
I wish the government would, but we don't have any consensus on what the budget for NASA.
And there's a fair amount of the government I don't trust either.
Well,
I
and
mean,
frankly, this
yes,
is the
that's
problem
fair.
with the current Artemis program, for instance, is really just a boondoggle to give money to various aerospace companies. There's no intent really to make it anything of it. It's just a giveaway. Congress, every Congress member says, I'd like to have some pork fat for my widget manufacturer so that they can build.
They're always saying that.
They're all saying it. It's all pork fat. It's all.
To bring it back a little bit, though, to the OpenAI and media companies discussion, one thing that I think is really interesting about all this, at least from my perspective as a self-interested person, is 5 days ago, before The Atlantic announced its partnership with OpenAI, Jessica Lesson, the founder of my company, The Information, wrote a piece in The Atlantic titled "Publishers Striking AI Deals Are Making a Fatal Error" that I thought was really well considered and interestingly argued. And I'm not just saying that because she pays my bills. The piece kind of goes into this argument. One of the fundamental points is, and I'm reading from the article here, that media companies would rush to do these deals after being burned by their tech deals of the past is extraordinarily distressing. And these AI partnerships are far worse for publishers. 10 years ago, it was at least plausible to believe that tech companies would become serious about distributing news to consumers. They were building actual products like Google News. Today's AI chatbots are so early and make mistakes so often that I think it's frankly, hard to imagine that this is going to turn out well for any of these publishers, other than them just getting cash now.
I had a discussion with a Norwegian publisher on LinkedIn today about just this, and Schibsted is the smartest company in media and news, I think, besides the information public presence company accepted. and saying, I'm trying to balance this, I'm trying to figure this out, and I left a very lengthy response. Poor guy. But they're trying to do it more sensibly there, where media are coming together and they're asking what's good for all of media, what's good for all the country. What's happening in the U.S. and in the rest of Europe is a cash grab by those who are already rich. And so they get some money out of OpenAI. It's not going to change the business. It's not going to save them. It's not going to do anything to improve citizenry. It's not going to do anything for OpenAI either, except be honest, because they can scrape whatever they need to train the models. They're just doing this to forestall lobbying. And meanwhile, the New York Times and the evil Alden Global, which owns the largest newspaper, one of the largest newspaper chains in America, is suing for their bucket of money, but that's not going to help either. It's all dumb.
All right, let's take a break. I don't have anything to disagree with you. I think you're all right.
That's no fun, is it?
Well, but
disagreements on a podcast.
I don't know how we solve all this. I mean, this is like it or not, kind of a capitalistic society. We have a system. I think the truth of this is the system isn't doing such a good job right now. But I guess maybe it's always been that way, right? And we just kind of muddle along. And somehow we survive. Is that the case, Ed? Ed, I won't call you Ed. Jeff, you're the
start talking.
Jeff, Ed. Where are you, Ed? Jeff, you're the historian. I mean, what I loved about this Web We Weave, and I'm in the process of reading it, so I can write you a nice blurb, is your very much historic point of view on all of this stuff. You're the one who knows whether this is normal or is this different than the usual.
Yeah, I'm going to go back. This is Gutenberg parenthesis time. Drink. I'm going to go back to print, right? Print, you trusted, one of my favorite parts in that book is when I describe the system of Fama, which is about social systems of authority, because nobody trusted print, and print at the beginning was highly unreliable, and people couldn't trust that either. It took time to build the institutions of editing and publishing that enabled people to understand that there was something to it, but that took a long, long time. I think we'll eventually come up with new systems and new institutions to figure a lot of this out, but it could take a century.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we have a century, to be honest with you.
Well, you and I don't.
100 years from now.
AI might keep Paris alive for a lot longer than us, though.
I feel like 100 years from now.
Then she'll say, Leo was right.
We don't know anything about what it's going to be like 100 years from now. I don't think we know what it's going to be like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It feels like we are in a big shift, somewhat, but maybe not. Again, that's the question. Is like, is this just normal? Everybody feels this way all the time, or are we really in some sort of interesting change, sea change, bigger than the Industrial Revolution, bigger than the Internet Revolution? I feel like we are.
That's the hubris of the present tense.
Well, that's right, and that's why I'm asking, because I'm asking for a friend. Am I hubristic? Our show today brought to you by Bitwarden. Look, there's no hubris in this. Well, there is, actually, because people think, they imagine that they can make up passwords. Many, many passwords. We all need hundreds, right? Remember them. Keep them secure. Problem is, we know it just doesn't work. You need a password manager. Everybody who uses the internet needs a password manager. I'd suggest anybody who's got a high school locker and there's a home address and a driver's license. There's lots of stuff you might want to store securely, safely, so that you can retrieve it whenever you want, and that's what Bitwarden does. It's the password manager, open source, cost-effective, that can dramatically improve your chances of staying safe online. They just did a survey because May 2nd was World Password Day, so they surveyed people from the U.S., Australia, U.K., France, Germany, and Japan, curious about password practices. And I got to tell you, it ain't good. 31% of U.S. respondents, for instance, reuse passwords across sites. We know how dangerous that is. 42% incorporate personal information because you know what? You can't remember a password. So you make it something you can remember, your birth date, your dog's name, your maiden name, whatever. But that's no good either. Completely insecure. 58% of respondents continue to use their memory to keep track. 58%. This is a little sad to me. I've been pushing password managers for 50 years. Apparently it's not working. 34% continue to use pen and paper. Well, that's fine at home, I guess, but they're also doing it at work, which means go to your employees' desks. Are there Post-it notes on the screen with passwords? Look under the desk plotter. It worked in more games. It worked today. That's where we haven't made any progress. That's 58%. Do that. Nearly a quarter of respondents view workplace security habits as risky. 45% store their passwords insecurely. They know this. And 44% admit they use weak credentials. They know this. So if you've got a business and you're not using a password manager as corporate best practice, you've got to get Bitwarden. Bitwarden empowers enterprises, developers, and yes, individuals to store and share sensitive data safely. Because it's open source, it's transparent, it works, and it's free forever for individual users. Unlimited passwords. It supports passkeys. They do such a nice job with passkeys, by the way. In fact, they've just now announced the support for passkeys, not only on the desktop, but on browser extensions and mobile devices. So essentially now, if you use passkeys to log into a site, it's there everywhere you use Bitwarden. You can use it. Passkeys Mobile, they call it. It's available on iOS, Open Android beta right now. We'll talk more about it, of course, as it moves into a final release. But it's already very, very usable. I've been using it for some time now. It's great. Bitwarden. Get started with Bitwarden's free trial of Teams or enterprise plans. Make sure you do this at work. You got to have it. And, of course, if you're an individual or you know people who aren't using password managers, tell them about Bitwarden. Get started for free across all devices as an individual user. Free forever. Bitwarden.com/twit. It's the only open source password manager you can use on every platform for work, for home. Bitwarden.com/twit. We thank him so much for doing a great job and for supporting us on This Week in Google and on the Twit Network in general. So I think this is kind of interesting. One of the former board members at OpenAI has finally told us a little bit about what happened. She showed up on a podcast. Gosh, I wish I'd asked her to join us. I'd love to have been the one that blew the lid off of this one. and talked a little bit about why they wanted to fire Sam Altman.
You get them so confused.
They all seem the same to me. They all seem the same. She was on the board. Her name is Helen Toner. And I want to give credit to the podcast. It was called the TED AI Show.
Is that TED?
I think it must be TED. It's capitalized. When ChatGPT came out in November 2022, she says, the board found out on Twitter. They were not told ahead of time. Now, I have not been on many boards. I don't know much about corporate governance, but it seems to me that you're supposed to tell the board when you're going to make a major product announcement. Am I wrong?
Yeah, the board should have known that this was coming out.
OpenAI has not commented in a statement provided to the TED podcast. Brett Taylor, the current board chief, says, we're disappointed that Ms. Toner continues to revisit these issues. He doesn't say it's wrong. He just says, can we drop it, please?
A, and B, they did this whole theatrical thing about how they were going to do this investigation. They hired a law firm to do it, and we never heard anything from that. It's like, it's okay. Sam's back. It's good.
She said Altman didn't disclose. This is another big one. Remember, Sam always would say, hey, I have no stake in this. I have no investment here. I'm not making money on this. He said it again and again and again. This was to reassure you that he was not in this for profit. Well, it turns out he actually owned a big chunk of OpenAI's startup fund and did not tell the board that either. She criticizes leadership.
That's baffling to me that the board wouldn't know about an investment in the company. I mean, that is basic stuff.
I think it's corporate malfeasance. I mean, honestly, seriously, I understand why they fired him at this point. She criticized his leadership on safety. This is, of course, the biggest tussle still going on at OpenAI. In fact,
and let us please put air quotes around safety because it means something different to everybody.
Well, that's
including she's a little bit on the doomer side too. So.
Yeah. She said on multiple occasions he gave us inaccurate information about the formal safety processes that the company did have in place, meaning it was basically impossible for the board to know how well those safety processes were working or what we might need to change. After years of such events, Toner said, all four of us came to the conclusion we just couldn't believe the things Sam was telling us. And now hearing this,
which is an issue.
I think you're right.
And this, correct me if I'm wrong, is a problem that people have raised at his previous companies he's worked at.
Yes.
There have been a lot of concerns raised that he's a little duplicitous as an executive. I believe that's what people who had worked with him at previous startups had said.
And let's not forget, he also attacked her for a paper that she wrote.
Right.
Which was supposed to be from her position as an independent board member, keeping watch on the issues of OpenAI.
Let's talk about AI safety. Do you think that that's not possible or that that's a meaningless thing?
Me?
Yeah.
I think it's not possible. I think alignment is impossible because the machine doesn't make decisions. It matches words. That's all it does.
What do you mean by alignment?
Alignment is the belief that we can align our human values with the machine and make it follow what we want to do. But there's no meaning to it. So it's not only that, Paris, it's worse than that. The guy who left OpenAI, he was in charge not of alignment, but of super alignment.
Oh, yes.
Add the super in front of it, so it's AGI super alignment. It's a bullshit sandwich.
Well, I mean, Jeff, do you believe that there should be nothing done to ensure safety at these companies, ensure that the goals of the people who are programming these large language models and setting parameters for it align in some way with
here's the problem,
best
Paris.
practices?
I think in theory, I absolutely agree. But the problem is I think that everybody's getting fooled about what's possible. Is that you can't tell the machine not to do what we would call hate. Now, you can try to program in every imagined hateful thing you can think anyone might ask for and tell it not to do that, but that's the best you're going to get. There's no such thing as guardrails. And to me, that's the real safety issue, is we're lying to people and making them think that we can get rid of these issues, and we can't. Again, I'm not against the technology, but it's fraudulent.
I do think that that's a good point. The idea that one downside of these groups is that they're giving people a false sense of security,
Right.
possibly, in these technologies.
Odd, paradoxically, because they're also trying to give them a false sense of insecurity. That we are so powerful over these machines. If you trust us and give us the full power, we will manage them and you'll be okay. We won't destroy mankind, which we couldn't do because we're that powerful, but we won't. That's a lie, too.
Anthropic was started by people who didn't believe that OpenAI was paying enough attention to safety.
Under this AGI view, yes.
Yeah, they've now hired one of the OpenAI researchers who resigned, Jan Leike. He's going to
He
work
was the
for
guy in
Anthropic.
charge of super alignment.
Yeah.
And now he's in charge of super alignment again at Anthropic.
I have to say, I don't feel myself enough of an expert to weigh in on this safety thing. People who seem to, I mean, look, this is what Jan does, believes that there's an issue and you need to pay attention to this. He says we're long overdue in getting incredibly serious about the implications of AGI. We must prioritize preparing for them as best we can. Well, but okay,
Right
but
there.
Jeff, neither
Right
you
there.
nor I have
He's
the technical
buying
skills.
The AGI thing.
Yeah, but
oh,
neither.
No. This is logic. This is pure, simple logic. No, AGI is BS. And then saying further, you're going to create something that's more intelligent, more powerful than we are, and then we're going to create these mechanisms to control it so that nobody can use. It's all BS. And back to Benito's point, billions upon billions are being invested in it because they're pumping the BS side of this about how all powerful it is, about how they'll reach general intelligence. It will do more than we can do as human beings. I don't buy it. Now, I don't buy it with present technology. Could there be other things that come down the pike? Yeah, but generative AI ain't it.
So
And we're
here's the
nowhere
reason
near
I'm not so as convinced as you. Not because I took a walk on the beach, but because I believe that
Because you were
AGI
carried when you were walking on the beach
by a robot, a friendly
by
robot.
a robot Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I honestly don't know whether we could achieve that or not. I don't know. I don't think we know at all. What I do notice, though, is that after years of poo-pooing AI and saying, oh, it's just a pipe dream, AI is doing some remarkable,
Yes.
unpredicted things, which tells
Stipulated.
me we didn't know what AI was capable of, and it is now doing some very interesting things. I am not so confident in my belief that it can't get much, much better very quickly. Like, who knows, like next year. Elon says next year. No, I don't.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of when you say much, much better?
Yeah. Define AGI.
Well,
Two different questions.
I think
yes.
I think
One on the
that's
road
a
to
bad
the other.
framework for what safety really. I understand that they throw this around. I don't know what artificial general intelligence is. I do know that we are using AI to do things we didn't contemplate it being able to do before, and that it's doing them effectively. You're seeing it being used to read X-rays effectively. There was a recent study that said that AI was able to predict cancers in people who are not yet diagnosed as cancerous brain lesions by looking at their brain and saying, well, and I know the AI is not thinking, well, I know, I see something, but the AI is simply trained on many, many, many brain scans and knows what the outcome of those brain scans were, and then is able to draw a connection between the two that humans have not been able to draw that proved to be correct. Is that AGI? No, because it's not general. It's very, very specific, but it is nevertheless a ability beyond what humans can do. Yes, you
People
agree?
thought that linotypes were almost human.
You know what?
in their
Dogs
ability.
can
They
smell.
had to think to do
Dogs
this.
can smell COVID. We know that. I can't smell COVID. But it doesn't mean a dog has AGI, but it does mean that a dog can do something a human can't
It can do tasks. It can absolutely do
And
protein folding.
AGI
That's justification alone.
AI
That's an
can do
amazing
things
thing.
humans can't do. Is that
Absolutely.
AGI? I don't
Absolutely.
know. And I think
No.
that doesn't matter. But I think the point is...
Oh, it matters.
Well, but the point is, AI is getting better and better at doing things that we can't do. It isn't unreasonable to be concerned that it might prove do things we don't want it to do, and we don't know how or why, and not having prepared for this. That's all super alignment is about, is just preparing, thinking about these things so that...
Prepare for what, though? You have to
we
go
don't
back
know, but
to-
you have to think about it. Not thinking about it is not... Well, we know that one thing that's not going to do anything is pretending it's not going to happen. If maybe
define it,
and maybe it won't happen.
The problem is that this is the point of the stochastic parents paper. All of that big doomer talk distracts from the absolute real present tense issues of bias and environment and fraud and misuse of human beings in terms of using data. Those are present tense issues that are getting ignored because in this, oh no, we care about the 10 to the 58th future human beings. We care about saving all of mankind. That's the peril of all of that talk, of the AGI talk. That's what and it all comes from boys. It comes from AI boys. Who is on the other side of this? The people who are never getting quoted, women and scholars of color. Ruman Chaudhuri and Timnit Gebru and Margaret Mitchell and Emily Bender and...
Well, wait,
Roy
let me give you an
Olamide.
example of a thing an AI could do that right now that might be dangerous. Take people's jobs. Is that not an AI safety issue?
No, it's buggy whips. It happens all the time in technologies and jobs.
So we shouldn't think about it, prepare for it, or worry about it.
You could sure, think about it, but that's a very specific thing. And
That's
there'll
one
be
of
an
many things.
uneven-
I'm just using it as an example. Aren't there many things that we should think about?
That's why they talk about guaranteed income and that kind of stuff. But there are certain jobs, you what do? You invest in education, which is being condemned all around.
I think I feel like it's a mistake to say no. It's stupid to think about it or plan for it or consider
Again,
AI
define
safety.
it.
Well,
if you're talking about jobs,
I would like to bring up a point I think that
Please.
Benito brought up in the podcast a couple of weeks ago, which is one thing we should think about is what is an entire multiple classes of people going to do in a future where entry or mid-level creative jobs simply do not exist because of the rise and permanence of generative AI.
yeah, and I would submit that's an
technologies.
AI safety issue. I mean, that's in the realm
I think
of...
that's more of a societal AI safety
No, but it's
issue,
in the realm of
yes.
preparing for an AI that could be hazardous to humans. Elon
So
says probably, this was at a AI tech conference on Thursday, and everything Elon says is suspect. But he says probably none of us will have jobs. If you want to do a job, that'll kind of be like a hobby. You can do a job, but otherwise AI and the robots will provide any goods and services you want. Now, of course, if you don't have a job, I don't know how you're going to pay for those goods and services. He says, oh, well, then you'll need a universal high income, not to be confused with the
that's their
basic
shtick.
income. There would be no shortage of goods or services. Yeah. Okay, I admit. You could now, but see, Jeff, wouldn't it be a mistake to say, well, that's absolutely not going to happen, so we shouldn't think about it?
It's a mistake because in no sensible present world, A, should you ever believe anything that Elon Musk says, and B, does that have a clear path to it? I just put up on the rundown something I just saw.
You know
from
what?
Ruben
Wait a
Chaudhuri,
minute.
who's
In 1930, was there a clear path to this, to a smartphone?
So how could you have planned for it? How could you have said in 1930, we must be ready for people were thinking they could have devices. I read about this when it came to the typewriter. Newspapers said, well, the next thing we know, it'll be able to spell, and then it'll be able to think. In 1880, okay, eventually we got a machine that could be defined as thinking in some form or another, but that's been 150 years.
So you're saying...
And there
I mean,
were
I don't
plenty of
think
other
we have to
problems deal
wait
with.
for it to be thinking. I think we're already at a place where it's having noticeable impacts on people's
And we
livelihoods
should think
and
about it
displacing workers.
Yeah.
That, yes.
There was a really
That,
interesting,
yes.
I mean, interesting is probably the wrong word. The CEO of Klarna made a press release and posted on social media a couple times this week. I linked to it on line 81 in the rundown about how Klarna has already been using generative AI to replace marketing workers. He went into detail about like how Gen AI has already saved Klarna $10 million in marketing this year, and that their in-house marketing team is half the size it was last year, but they're producing more because they're using a variety of Gen AI tools. And I think that is the sort of reality that we need to increasingly prepare for, where companies, like various parts of companies that used to exist over the past couple of decades, suddenly won't. And the effect that is going to have in the labor market is unprecedented.
So in the next book I'm writing about the linotype.
I haven't even finished your last book. Can you slow down a little bit?
I'm still working.
What's the name for this one going to be?
Hot type.
Oh, I love it.
That's good.
You're good at naming, I got to say.
Well, not always me. So the typesetters said, oh, no, we're going to be replaced. We're going to be replaced. And they had two choices. They could have followed the people who destroyed looms and fought the technology. But the wise typographical union said, no, it's inevitable. The machine's going to come. We're going to have to deal with this. But we have to be the ones to use it. We have to be the ones to control it. And if you don't, we're going to cause all kinds of problems. So the publishers agreed. Their jobs went down for about 20 years, and then they knew it would spread, and it went hugely up. It went up and up and up until the 1960s, when I happen to have a prop for those of you. Do you know what this is?
No, it's a magnetic something.
It's a cool circle with a smaller circle inside.
It's a
This
setter.
is a circle, and there are
Precision pace setter.
So there are, you probably can't see it, but there are this little things here. Those are letters. This was cold type. Light was shown through these letters on a high-speed turn onto photographic paper. That's what finally killed Gutenberg a half millennium later. And that's what the ITU tried to fight, and they lost, and they killed 6 of 9 New York newspapers and their union, and they all lost their jobs as a result. Right? So they didn't write one time when they said, we're going to take over the technology. And the next time we said, we're going to fight it. And you don't know. I just put up on the rundown, line 82, a statement that I just saw 2 minutes ago from Ruben Chaudhry on LinkedIn, linking to this, which is a UN statement on the risks from generative AI. It is filled with risks to pay attention to. Absolutely. I completely agree. It has not jack to do with all this BS about AGI.
Well, okay, fine. If I take the letters AGI out of it, are you still... Do you think safety is still an issue?
This AGI crap out of it. Of course, safety is an issue, but you've got to take the meaning that the AI boys impute in this notion of AGI and super alignment. That's all BS.
Well, Sam Altman agrees with you, and that's why he's basically eliminated the super alignment team.
Oh no, he created another team, put himself on it. He's on the new safety team. No, he just didn't like where they were headed. He believes in AGI. Believe me, I don't agree with Sam Altman.
Okay.
There are
So
risks.
what is your
I agree
position?
with that.
I don't understand what your
My
position is. It's okay to look at
where we
safety as
are
long as you
today.
don't have AGI?
No, look at where we are today. There's plenty of risks to pay attention to today. Reread the Stochastic Parrots paper, and all those risks are laid out there. And there's more here. Do not pay attention to this BS about how it's going to be smarter than us. It could destroy mankind. We need to pay attention to the 10 to the 58th future human beings. We need to populate Mars. Just stop with that crap.
So I get it now. You're saying
some present scholars.
by saying let's look at the future hazards, you're ignoring the actual hazards that are today.
Yes.
And that we should pay attention to what's going on today. Yeah, you're not against safety, but you're
Not
against
at
this
all.
whole idea of, well, let's not worry about anything now. Let's worry about what might happen. I agree with you on that. I think you do both.
I have a chapter about those people in The Web We Weave out in October.
I think you can do both.
I say
The
what
mistake
scares
is
me most is those guys.
Yeah, you shouldn't exclude the issues that are arising today.
Absolutely not.
But that doesn't
In fact,
mean you shouldn't.
We shouldn't be distracted from those.
Yeah, right. But I think it's there's enough bandwidth to go around. You could think about what might happen. I guess it is pretty speculative.
It's pretty speculative. Yeah. I'm curious, Paris. I look longingly at the Information is holding an AI summit coming up.
Smart.
Yes.
You're going?
I wonder.
No, are you going,
afford these
Paris?
things. Oh, Paris.
Where is it? I don't know.
You're not
If it's
invited.
in New
It's on
York,
your
maybe.
homepage.
Yeah.
Let me see here. San Francisco, of course, September 5.
Then no. No, I'm not.
Could you send me your invite?
Yeah, I can get you an invite.
By the
You
way,
subscribe?
Amir Ifrati and Wayne Ma have
You bet he
confirmed
is.
Mark Glerman's Mark Bloomberg's Mark Bloomberg's scoop that OpenAI has done a deal with Apple. Apple will have its Worldwide Developers Conference a week from Monday, and they are expected to announce all sorts of new features in iOS 18 and Mac OS 15,
who pays whom in that deal?
Oh, does it say?
No,
Can you ask Amir for us, Paris? Because I'm curious. I'm going to guess.
Does it not say?
Apple is a tough negotiator. We know that Google paid them $20 billion a year a couple of years ago to have it be the default search. I'm going to guess that Google and OpenAI were in a bidding war for Apple's...
To pay Apple.
Yeah, to pay Apple for Apple's attention.
It's all PR.
On the other hand, Apple definitely needs this because they don't really... Their Siri is not the brightest tool in the shed and probably could use some help. But
I think it also said that Google it's not necessarily a one company deal. The Google
they're still apparently talking to Google.
Yeah.
So Apple may offer you I don't know if Apple will offer you a choice or Apple will say, well, we have a chat, a Siri style chat, and it's using OpenAI. I don't know. I think the consensus as the dust has settled is that OpenAI 4.0 is actually pretty good, right? Or no? Do you not like it? Am I mistaken to give it any credit?
I mean, what are you giving it credit for?
Yeah,
I just talk to it all the time. It's my little buddy.
But what are you saying to it?
I ask it questions. It's better than Siri on factual matter.
Were you using Siri regularly before? Are we allowed to say her name?
You gave up. So when is Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference? Is it coming up?
You could have typed WWDC in the box.
Conference, WWDC, is coming up soon. It will take place from June 10th to June 14th. 2024. The conference will be held online with a special in-person event at Apple Park on the opening day. This year's WWDC will feature the latest advancements in iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, tvOS, and visionOS, focusing on new tools and technologies for developers. Expect significant updates, especially with iOS 18, which is rumored to include...
You asked when it is.
...and new customization options.
This is as good, though, as the information you would have gotten if you'd asked me that same question.
I simply, in the middle of you asking it that, I just Googled I thought I Googled when WWDC. Turns out I actually Googled WGEB instead of when, and then WWDC. But still, I immediately got all of those things.
If all you want is a fact like that, Google's better.
But I mean,
well, no, she's got.
No, I even got all of that information, what it is, that there's no in-person attendance, that, it's a technology conference held by Apple that's going to give me updates.
What is Hashimoto's disease?
Their various...
What are the symptoms? What should I be looking for?
Well, if you trust it for this, you're a fool.
It's actually pretty good because it's using...
Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disorder in which the immune system attacks the thyroid, a small gland at the base of your neck. This can lead to hypothyroidism, where
I'm starting to like the
thyroid
personality.
doesn't produce enough hormones.
Oh no, I would never hire him.
Include
really?
fatigue,
Yeah, I hate it.
weight
Never.
gain, cold intolerance, joint.
He
and muscle
seems
pain,
really
dry
smarmy.
skin, hair loss, depression.
They're all smarmy.
It's mansplaining. You just got a machine to mansplain.
Okay, but I can have it just as easily female splain.
It's still Uncanny Valley voice to me.
It's okay. Hey, they're painting the asphalt out front of our offices. Is there any hazard from breathing in those fumes? That's a reasonable question, right?
Yes.
If it doesn't know what paint.
From breathing in asphalt fumes. These fumes can cause irritation
Fire
to the
and
eyes, nose, and throat.
You said paint.
And
You didn't
prolonged
say
exposure
pave.
might lead to headaches, dizziness, and respiratory issues. It's best to ensure good ventilation and limit exposure, especially during heavy paving activities. If you have concerns, consider consulting with an occupational health expert.
I think that's a good... Don't you think
Did
that's
you
a
say
good...
painting or paving?
Well, but
paving?
they actually are paving it, so it got. Even though I said...
But you said paint.
Well,
and it gave you an answer per pave.
Give me a question.
And you just skated right over that and said, isn't that cute? Isn't that clever? Isn't that smart?
How many angels can dance on the head of a pin?
You pinhead, you.
The classic philosophical and theological question. It's often used to illustrate the complexity of medieval scholastic debates or to highlight the limits of human
kid in the ninth grade
metaphysical concepts. In a more humorous or rhetorical sense, it's a way to ponder the infinite or the absurd. How about you? Do you find it more amusing or thought-provoking?
Thanks, Hermione.
While we're on this, I'll just say the one thought that's been ringing in my head for the last 7 minutes, and I've got to say it to get it out, is if no one has done a bit on stochastic parrots, that is stochastic parrot heads, I think someone should. And I just really needed to say that so that I'd stop.
Looking for my lost. I don't know. We'll have to get Jimmy Buffett back from the dead for that one. Let's take a break.
There is Stochastic Parrots Day. Already happened.
Listen, I Googled stochastic parrots heads in quotes and got nothing back. And I think there's a real content opportunity there for someone.
I think there is.
I think that all of the movie tropes and sci-fi tropes about yes.
Go to your music. What's the music one we like?
Suno, which just got an investment, of course.
Yeah, you've got to get. Now we got to get a song out of Suno,
right?
For Stochastic Parrots Day.
Okay.
Parrots heads.
So what's the prompt here? Write us. I got to continue my account. Hold on, I'm not logged in. Write us a song celebrating stochastic parrots heads day.
Write a song about the stochastic parrots metaphor or like term in the style of Jimmy Buffett.
About the perils of AI.
About the perils of AI, yeah. I guess I don't expect it.
Risks of AI.
All right. Let's see here. I said, write a song in the style of Jimmy Buffett about stochastic parrot heads and the risks of AI. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have that song for you in just a moment. But first...
that's the best tease.
A word from our sponsor. The show brought to you by Yahoo Finance. You know, whenever I want to know what's going on, and we are always looking at quarterly results. There's always a little race to see which company's worth $3 trillion, which one's worth more. Whenever I want to know market cap, when I want to get the news about any company, whenever I want to know why the Dow is down 400 points today, I go to Yahoo Finance. You know, when it comes to your financial future, I'm sure you've done the right things, right? You've saved, you researched, you invested in the right, the best you could and all you could. But now it's time to take those investments to the next level by using what every financial grade has used for over 25 years, Yahoo Finance. Whether you're a seasoned investor or looking for extra guidance, Yahoo Finance provides all the tools and data you need in one place. Yahoo Finance provides a holistic view of the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, and more. You could securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of your wealth, including your 401k and other investments. A comprehensive perspective distinguishes great investors, and Yahoo Finance ensures you have the insight to examine your wealth in its entirety. It's what I use every single day, even just to see how my investments are doing. But I always like to see why they're doing what they're doing. With a community of over 90 million users every month, 90 million, their real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the #1 financial destination. 90 million users every month. Wow. yahoofinance.com. Just bookmark it. Have it ready. You never know when you're going to need it. yahoofinance.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the laid-back acoustic island sounds of stochastic parrot heads.
Sunny days in paradise. Program birds fly by so nice. Talking like they know the world. Artificial minds on fur.
That's impressive. AI talking about AI. Isn't that risky?
Is this Jimmy Buffett-esque?
Well,
it's a little slow.
All right, let me try the other one here.
Sunny days in paradise, program birds birds fly by so nice.
Yeah, let's skip ahead.
They need more REM.
Yeah.
Cold drinks down.
Cold drinks. It's pretty good.
Danger lurks in AI town.
Oh yeah, ice and rust beneath the land. Be careful what you ask them for. You might not like what they have in store.
See, AI can be used to diss AI. Well, not the greatest thing ever.
Did you put up a link to that in the rundown so I can share it with Timnit Gebru and Company?
Yeah, which one do you want? Both?
Crediting Paris for the idea.
I'll make them both public, and I'll give you links
Stochastic parrot heads.
to both. Stochastic parrot heads. I don't know if Timnit will approve or not, but
She might not, but
there we go. There's one, and I'll put the other one in there. I don't know.
have you ever tried to?
It's just fun, right? It's just fun. It's not.
Yeah, it's
we
fun.
don't have to take it
That's
that
the thing. It's
seriously.
creativity.
Yeah.
So I was listening to Lev Manovich, I think I mentioned this before, from CUNY, for a talk about art and creativity, and he said that before the Romantic period, there was no sense of art and creativity. There was only one creator, God, and creativity came through moving away from the church, and we would never think about that.
Is that really
and so
true?
When we ask whether the
mean,
machine
if you
is
look
creative,
at the beautiful,
tell the people who painted the caves in France.
Or,
Yeah, I
or
was gonna say,
Michelangelo.
This is cave painter erasure.
I think Michelangelo was pretty creative.
well, but what he's saying is, if we reject the idea that AI can be creative, we change our definition of creativity, which I think is interesting. And so, yes, we could even ascribe. I'm not going to ascribe sentience or general intelligence to AI, but as a tool to work with, I think that it can be creative. That's a pretty high thing.
You know what? I think we made the case many times over the last 6 months. I think we just have to wait and see. I think you're right. We should probably pay attention to current harms, potential harms, do what we can to mitigate those. But I think we might. Who knows? We might be surprised by what it could do, and we might not. I completely acknowledge that we could be just heading into another AI winter because we overpromised, and just like self-driving cars, we can't do it. Although we've come a lot farther than we thought we would. I don't know. Let's see. Did we talk about the ICQ powering down? Do you even know what ICQ is, Paris?
Nope. ICQ?
It's one of the great brands ever. It's just a brilliant
Great
brand.
brands. I think that's an oxymoron.
Just because it existed before you were born.
Yeah, kid.
Is that an ICQ sound? I think it is,
Yep,
Benito. Sneaking in little ICQ sounds there. ICQ.
Listen, if this can help me achieve my dreams of bringing a soundboard to Twit,
You can bring a soundboard. You can bring a soundboard. Nearly 30 years, ICQ has been around as it wasn't the first messenger program, but it was definitely the big one until AOL came along. In fact, AOL eventually bought them, folded it into instant messaging.
Making Yossi Vardi a rich man and the center of tech development in Israel.
You, I'm sure, used AIM, AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
That was its successor.
AIM and MSN.
And MSN.
Hey, see, that's just not cool like us early kids.
So June 26th, the software just will stop working there to take the servers down. I did not know this, but a new version of the program was released as recently as 2020. The current owner is called VK. It's a Russian.
Well, that's the Russian company, yeah.
Digital Sky Technologies. It's still popular in Russia, apparently. But VK is going to shut it down and move you on to VK Messenger. So
go ahead.
If you wish to communicate with anybody in the Russian Union, please use VK Messenger. Anyway.
Did you know that you can still go to CompuServe.com?
What? What do you get?
You get headlines for old people.
Wow. That's interesting. It never went away, huh? It's not loading for me. It's just shaking like it's an old person. Oh, that's because I typed the wrong URL, which probably is a malicious URL. It's probably desperately trying to serve me garbage. Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's the old CompuServe. I can even get CompuServe mail. What?
Nope, it goes to AOL.
What? That's confusing.
Why am I just getting links without any of the graphics? Is it because I have an ad blocker on?
Oh, yeah, probably. CompuServe, complete and comprehensive products and access for internet online users at home, in the workplace, and around the globe, says this GIF.
Oh, that's fun.
It's not even editable text. Copyright 2024 Yahoo. So wait a minute. So Yahoo owns it and AOL? It's very confusing.
Yeah, so still, yeah.
They've all merged into one big blob.
But not, I don't think Yahoo, your sponsor Yahoo Finance, I think is separate.
Is it? I don't know. What's
know.
WoW?
Oh, I remember that.
Remember WoW?
I love that there's an exclamation point through the...
Wasn't that their answer to Excite?
You got the World Wide Web. Now you have the World O Web. Wow. I don't know. Let me Google this. Oh, actually, let's ask our little friend.
Oh, it's too young.
Do you remember
like
anything
Paris.
called CompuServe WoW?
Yes. CompuServe WoW was an attempt by CompuServe to create an easy-to-use online service aimed at a more general consumer audience in the mid-1990s. It was designed to compete with other services
I think
like
this is pretty
AOL
good. I mean,
by providing a
it
more
doesn't beat a
graphical,
web search.
user-friendly interface. It included
But when you're
features like
driving,
email,
it's
chat,
useful.
news, and forums. Unfortunately, it didn't gain much traction and was eventually discontinued. Do you have any specific memories or questions?
It opened
about it?
in March of 96.
Okay,
and closed
it's weird.
in November.
Why is it asking you if you have specific memories about it?
Well, that's the weird
it
thing
doesn't
about
care.
4.0 is it wants to engage you in conversation.
But that's what's wrong about it. That's what's anthropomorphic.
I just turn it off when it does that. Let's
it
try
reminds
this.
me of when the Amazon product we can't name.
Hey, I really enjoyed the TV show
asks you
Succession.
questions.
Do you have any recommendations for a newer TV show I could watch in its place now that it's over? See, this is the kind of thing you'd ask a friend, right?
If you enjoyed Succession, you might like Industry. It's a
I
newer
did.
show that delves into
Looks
the
good.
high-stakes world of international
There's a new
finance,
season coming out.
Of
blending
Industry?
intense corporate drama
Loved
with
Industry.
personal conflict. Another one to consider is The White Lotus, which offers a sharp look at the lives of wealthy vacationers with a mix of dark humor and drama. Both should give you that compelling mix of power plays and complex characters you enjoyed in Succession.
Critical BS.
Yeah. Hey, it's no worse than the stuff you wrote for Entertainment Weekly. Just let's be honest, okay? This TV guide grade.
Yeah, but at least Jeff actually had to watch that stuff.
Exactly, Benito. Exactly.
Can you write me a little short TV guide style thumbnail for Succession Episode 1, Season 1?
Sure. Here you go. Succession, Season 1, Episode 1. In celebration, media mogul Logan Roy shocks his family by announcing his unexpected decision to stay on as CEO of their global empire, sparking tensions and power struggles among his children. As they gather for Logan's birthday, the Roys must navigate their ambitions and loyalty in a high-stakes game of family and business.
That's exactly TV Guide
If you take
style.
that and search on it, maybe it came from TV Guide.
Yeah, it could have been exactly TV Guide.
Could be. Who cares? I don't care. Paraphrase away. Is TV Guide gone for good? It is gone, isn't it? You can't.
No.
There's no
No,
paper
believe it or
TV
not.
Guide anymore.
It was sold for, I think there is.
Do you remember TV Guide, Paris?
Yes. I also have a deep understanding of it because I read Jeff's book Magazine. And now
of
we've
course
named
you did.
all the Jeff books, so we must once again drink.
Every book has been named. You're right. TVGuide.com is a TV guide, actually. Who owns this?
It was bought for, I can't remember the numbers. It's in my book, but how much Murdoch
Fandom.
bought it
It's a
for.
fandom
And it was
company.
sold for $1.
$1?
Well, remember, it was the thing about TV Guide was Murdoch got scared to death by, what was the name of that company, Leo, that gave you the codes for programming your VCR?
Oh, yeah. You'd see the code. It was in TV Guide, but mostly it was in your local newspapers. You'd get 40394, and then you'd have a special VHS recorder, and you'd enter 40394, and it would record it.
Chat room, what was that called?
What was wrong with us? Something wrong with us.
And they were so scared, they merged the companies.
Oh, wow.
And then that became useless. Paris, do you know that VCRs used to flash 12? You knew somebody was old when they couldn't figure out how to program the time in their VCR.
Oh, you mean like
was
flash 12 the time? I thought you just
the time.
The number 12. Yes. I mean, a lot of things do that or would do that.
And programming your VCR was such a 302 level course for old people. That this company came along and said, well, we're going to build in this special proprietary technology, put in this 5-number code, and it will do everything for you.
Oh, my God.
That's pretty good.
And we had to make room for it in the print edition of TV Guide. When you consider the volume of printing in TV Guide on those little pieces of paper, that was a huge expense. Adding in 5 numbers on every TV show was a gigantic expense.
Video Plus. Or VCR Plus, or G Code.
Yeah. What was the name of the company, though?
Here. Let's see. The concept, branding. This is Wikipedia. Panasonic Late Model VCR, which supports VCR Plus. I remember VCR Plus. Gemstar. You're right. There is a similar system for microwave oven cooking called TrueCook Plus. I think there should be something for podcasts. We should assign a 6-digit code to our podcast, and then you have a podcast player and you just enter in the 6-digit code and it would automatically record it for later listening. What about that?
So they had special hardware. If you Google, don't ChatGPT, if you Google VCR Plus,
well, it's like the Q.
eBay is selling. Yeah, exactly. eBay is selling hardware at the time so that you could program your VCR with the numbers.
Or you could just buy a VCR that has it already.
Well, that was the thing. You didn't want to buy it. You wouldn't want to buy it.
Couldn't you have just gone into the settings in the VCR and set the correct time?
No, that was too hard for us.
Why do you need any of this?
It was too hard for us.
We didn't understand that. It was too hard.
When we were your age, we made fun of people our age because they wouldn't do that.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Pretty much it.
Yep, I did that for my parents all the time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It was around a long enough time that you can't call it an interim technology, but in fact, it really was only a decade or so, and then it was gone with the wind. I mean, as our CDs, DVDs, and all this stuff, it's amazing how fast this has moved. That's why I am very hesitant to say, we're not going to get to AGI or stuff. This stuff is unpredictable and moves very, very quickly.
That's quite an extrapolation from Gemstar to AGI.
Everything I talk about these days is AGI. Congress just made it impossible to track Taylor Swift's jet. It's about time. Remember, Elon Musk got in a big tiff with Musk Jet on Twitter. Tizzy. This was started by a college kid at University of Florida, Jack Sweeney. He made an account that tracked the billionaire's private jet activity, Elon Jet, in 2020. After Musk bought Twitter in 2022, he shadow banned Sweeney, then fully banned him. But I didn't know this. He has now been allowed back on X. He also had an account for Taylor Swift's jet. In fact, he recently compiled this YouTube video. Taylor Swift, I didn't know this, has 2 jets, and this is their flights in 2023. All the places they went ended up in Kansas City a lot for reasons I don't fully understand. But there you go. So Congress has decided, this is these poor billionaires being tracked, and people are commenting on their usage of jets and so forth and so on.
Elon could end up on the Supreme Court. We better be nice to him.
Oh, he's gonna. I'm telling you, the sky's the limit for Elon at this point.
Yeah.
He and probably Taylor, who also went after Sweeney, she sued him or served him with a cease and desist order earlier this year, apparently convinced Congress that there ought to be a law. Congress, which has notoriously not been able to pass many laws this year. I think 27 was the count. did pass this one May 16th. The Senate passed it 88-4. The House 387-26. That's broad bipartisan support for the FAA reauthorization bill that allows private aircraft owners to anonymize their registration information. I guess they bundled that into the overall. You really want the FAA to exist, so Biden signed it into law, and now Taylor can fly with impunity, even though there's quite a lot of flight going around. Her jets emitted 1,200 tons of CO2, according to Sweeney, 83 times the amount of the average American, flying up and down and around. Why does she need two, though? There's only one of her. Is the other one for her dogs? I don't understand.
All
really.
the gear.
The gear.
Gear.
Okay, I guess, yeah. Look at this. They could have a truck, it feels like. I guess that wouldn't be any better than a jet. Maybe it would. I don't know.
I mean, of all the billionaires flying around the world with their private jets, Taylor Swift is okay because at least she's bringing happiness.
She brings happiness and huge economic windfalls.
Yeah,
but I mean,
the
reason why she's being called out is because she is the most prolific user of a private jet in our records.
But
is that true?
And she's also an industry.
Yes, that's why
herself.
she's been a flashpoint, I believe, is because of all the people using private jets, Taylor Swift
she deserves
uses it the most.
She deserves it. She needs
Well,
it.
she's a whole industry herself.
She is.
Yeah.
I mean, the economic value of having a Taylor Swift concert in your town is massive.
And she definitely can't fly commercial.
It's better than the Olympics. It's And she gonna get on a plane? What are you, crazy?
Do we also credit her with the investigation of Ticketmaster?
I don't know, but it is a good thing. My God, this is the one antitrust action that I think every American is 100% behind is breaking up Ticketmaster. Their hold on both the venues and the ticket sales is clearest form of monopoly I've ever seen.
Oh.
And it's about
and
time.
I mean, the practical implications of this are just clear to see as well. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I personally know so many people who tried to get tickets to the Eras tour in the U.S., were priced out and found that it was cheaper to go to Paris or Portugal or whatever.
Where there's no Ticketmaster.
There is no Ticketmaster because the tickets were that inexpensive in comparison. They could afford a flight and international lodging.
Isn't that amazing?
And a ticket for the same cost as a ticket in New Jersey.
After I bought tickets in the hotel to see the Formula One race last November in Vegas, I checked around. I could have gone to 4 races in Europe for the same cost and had a trip to Europe in and to boot. Yeah, it was really, I think things are just overpriced in America. Bless it. Because God bless capitalism,
man.
God bless it. All right, we got a change log to come, but still, but let's take a little break. You're watching This Week in Giggles with Jeff Lord Ha Jarvis, and Paris. What should I call you? Paris Giggle Pants Martineau. Our show today brought to you.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, just go to the ad.
You really cringed. That was a cringe.
Oof.
Our show today, I don't know why I said that. Our show today brought to you by Cashfly. I'm sorry. I lost my head. For over 20 years, Cashfly has held a track record for high-performance, ultra-reliable content delivery, serving over 5,000 companies in over 80 countries. And you know how I know? Because we have been using Cashfly practically since Twit started. Twit would not exist without Cashfly. We love their lag-free video loading, their hyper-fast downloads, their friction-free site interactions. What I love about it is you probably don't even know it, but every time you're watching one of our shows or downloading one of our shows, you're using Cashfly. And you don't know it because it works. It just works flawlessly, quickly. It delivers our content better than anybody else. That's probably because Cashfly is the only CDN built for throughput. With so many features, they offer ultra-low latency video streaming, which delivers video to over 1 million concurrent users. They've got lightning-fast gaming, which delivers downloads faster with zero lag, glitches, or outages. You got mobile content optimization, which offers automatic and simple image optimization so your site loads faster on any device. Flexible month-to-month billing for as long as you need, and discounts for fixed terms. Design your contract when you switch to CashFly. CashFly delivers rich media content up to 158% faster than other major CDNs and allows you to shield your site content in their cloud, ensuring a 100% cache hit ratio. We do that, and not having any cache misses makes a huge difference in speed. With CashFly's elite managed packages, you're going to get VIP treatment. We get such good treatment. I just love these guys. You have a dedicated account manager who's with you from day one. They'll ensure a smooth implementation, and they'll be there reliable 24/7 support whenever you need it. You probably won't, though, because CashFly is incredibly reliable. Learn how you can get your first month free at cashfly.com/twit. You've heard me say it time and time again. Bandwidth for This Week in Giggles, brought to you by CashFly at cachefly.com/twit. Thank you, CashFly. We really appreciate what you've been doing with us for 17, 18 years now. For a long time. Hey, we have an album, a CD cover for our new Stochastic Paraheads album. Thanks to, of course, our Club Twit Discord and Joe in the Discord. AGI Want a Cracker.
That's pretty good.
Unfortunately, $1.99 in the resale bin.
Resale bin.
Yeah, not exactly the hottest album on the charts. Thank you, Joe Esposito. I appreciate it. All right, let's do our Google changelog. See why I call her Giggle Pants? You see?
The Google changelog.
You will like this, JJ.
She's more of a chortler. I wouldn't call it giggling. I would call that
okay. Chortle pants?
A cackle?
Full-throated chortle.
Chortle skirt. How about that?
No,
that's worse. That's actually significantly worse on all accounts.
Jeff is going to appreciate this. Google had a big Chromebook showcase.
And they didn't invite me.
They didn't invite
How
you.
How could they not invite me? Their best friend.
Oh, you love Chromebooks. 6 new Chromebooks.
They're in New York.
These are the premium Chromebook Plus category, which, you know, I looked around. They're not that much more expensive. In fact, often not. No. But they have more power, advanced AI features. In fact, if you buy one, you'll get a full year of Google Gemini, which is pretty nice, Ultra. The Acer Chromebook Spin starts at $699. That's got a Intel Core Ultra processors. That's pretty hefty. HP's got the Chromebook Plus X360. Asus Chromebook Plus CX34. The Acer Chromebook Plus 516 GE. That's for cloud gaming with a 16-inch 120 hertz display. And you can use GeForce Now with it. I guess you could use GeForce Now with all of these.
Wait a minute. Is it really going to deliver 120 frames a second? I don't believe that.
You know, it depends on how it really depends on how it works, because I don't think GeForce Now sends the whole picture down every second, or 120 times a second. I think it sends a picture. It's keyframing, right?
At a delta.
You know? So it sends a picture down maybe every 3 seconds, and then does just the changes, maybe? I don't know.
But the Chromebook isn't powerful enough for that itself.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Hey,
why don't you get one, Benito, and let us know?
Yeah.
Asus Chromebook CM30, which is only 10.5 inches, but it does have a detachable keyboard. And the HP Chromebook 14-inch, which is only $249. Pentium processor, so forth and so on. These are all new. They'll have generative AI wallpapers. You can use text prompts to make images for both your desktop background and your video call background. I'm coming to you from the world of the future. An AI text editor that will help you write. Magic editor with Google Photos. I think are you going to get one of these, Jeff?
Well, I was just looking last night because the one I'm using is on its last leg. I'm debating between the 714. The new version, which we love, and so does Kevin Tofel's always like the Spin, and Kevin has, or the HP high end one,
Chromebook Plus, even that's fairly affordable,
not that
even
HP.
Higher end than that, yeah.
No, the Dragonfly
Let me ask,
Pro.
Oh, the Dragonflies are beautiful.
Elite Dragonfly Pro.
I really love those.
$1,000.
Whew, yikes. I have to get a new one for Abby, my daughter. She uses a Chromebook exclusively ever
She's
since
a
college.
Chromebook fan?
I knew
Yeah, ever since college. She hates. I said, believe it or not, I came to her the new Apple iPad. I said, Abby, I think you'll like this. You know.
Okay, Leo.
She didn't want it.
Trying to give her an iPad as a replacement for a laptop, even a Chromebook, that's ridiculous.
She doesn't like Apple. That's basically what she said. She said she hates Apple, but she doesn't want Windows either.
MacBook, better.
She had a MacBook, but she doesn't want Apple. She says Apple is a corporate, I don't know, something bad.
Has she heard about Google? Also a corporate?
She likes Google. I know. She likes a Chromebook.
Listen,
She's got to have something. You got to have a...
Don't forget who you're talking in front of here, Paris, you know.
I mean, Jeff.
Anyway,
Really?
this is a good time. But, one of the reasons I have to be careful is she's sensitive to the flickering of LEDs. She wants an OLED screen. She doesn't have problems with OLED screens. So there's only one that I know of. The Samsung has an OLED Chromebook. So I have to find her an OLED screen Chromebook.
Check out there's a super duper screen on the HP Elite Dragonfly.
Okay,
that
good.
has 1,000 nits.
Well,
most of these are 400 nits.
I don't think having it brighter is what she wants.
I'm just saying it's that different. It's that different.
Yeah, let me see if it's an OLED, though. She really doesn't want an LED. And there is flicker. Some people are very sensitive to it. Google adds AI. Oh, that's the AI-powered features. I talked about that. There is a Google Home app favorites widget. What that means. This is another one of those APK insight posts. They looked deep within the APK of Google Home, and there's some specialized widgets, which you can, these are nice because they're big favorite buttons you can push, and you can have it do, turn off all the lights, turn on all the lights. Good morning. Open the curtains, turn on the fan, that kind of thing. So that's good. Google ads are now being mixed in with organic results. This is kind of an interesting SEO issue. Yeah.
I put this in here because I'm not happy about this.
This is from Brody Clark writing for SearchEngineJournal.com. Google's been discreetly mixing ads within its search results. They've actually been doing it for a while. Yeah, I mean, look, this is the problem. And we don't do, what do they call it, organic ads? We don't do the ads where we don't say it's an ad because the idea is to trick you. So a listener thinks you're hearing editorial or you're reading editorial or you're reading search results, and in fact, you're reading something that was paid for by a sponsor. So that's why I begin every ad with our show brought to you by that kind of thing, our sponsor, that kind of thing. I think it's important you understand this is a paid announcement versus the editorial content. But that's why advertisers want to sneak these ads in the search results, not because that's a better place to be. No, to trick you. It's just blatant, to fool you into thinking it's real. They started June 17th, 2023, almost exactly a year ago, as a test, ramped it up until March of this year, and then they launched it. Google Ads Liaison announced the change would be a permanent one. And you could buy it, right? It's a little more expensive because, we trick you. This is appalling.
But that was always what Google said, is you cannot buy placement within the organic listings.
Well, you can.
Now you can.
Thank you, Pragavan and Prabhakar.
I think so.
It still says sponsored. At least it still says sponsored, right? It's still clearly labeled.
It's still labeled.
Yeah, but I don't like it.
And the other problem is,
frankly, Google has changed the way they denote sponsored ads over the last couple of years to where it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it used to be in a block in its own color.
Yeah.
Right? The other problem, in some slight fairness, I guess, is that when Google went away from the 10 links on a page to a constant scroll, it needed to put ads somewhere, and they end up in there. But still.
So
The thing that annoys me is now, at the very least in mobile, using it on Chrome, I do a lot of deep internet searches, and I'll scroll like 10 links, and then it'll give me some unrelated search, and it's like, well, other people search for this. Why don't we start your search for that? I'm like, no, I want to finish my original search, Google. And now I'm going to have to contend with that plus extra sponsored ads in the results. Disgusting.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Ed Zitron said. The Prabhakar Raghavan was ruining Google search. He came from the revenue side and explicitly to increase revenue, ad revenue in Google search. And that's exactly what he was put there to do. That's why I don't use Google. I have really pretty much de-Googled myself. I was talking to Paul Thurrott earlier on Windows Weekly. He said, wait, no, you didn't. I said, yeah, I stopped using Gmail years ago. Started using Fastmail. I now use Fastmail instead of Google Calendars and to Google Contacts to sync my calendars and contacts. I use Kagi Search. I never use Google Search anymore. You know, it's hard to get it completely away from Google.
You're never leaving YouTube.
Because I still have to pay for YouTube Premium.
I de-Microsoft myself, not on purpose, but I just did, and pretty much effectively.
By accident. Accidentally demicrofied. I don't mind not being, it's just, part of it is, I think we realize we have to pay for stuff. The promise that Google offered was all that stuff's for free. But we realized it really is a deal with the devil. You really aren't, it isn't free. You're giving up a lot of your attention and your information to pay for it. And I prefer to pay for it with my money.
Television.
Well, I don't watch, you know what? I have not seen a TV ad in a long time. I don't know. And that's why
Jeff, do you have cable news on in front of you right now?
Right now he's got it.
It's always on. It's always
what
on.
I do.
Is there an advertisement?
Not right now. It's Ari Melber talking to somebody.
I know what you're waiting for, too. You're waiting for the big announcement any minute now.
Verdict? Well, not tonight.
Did they go home?
I assume they're going to be taking a little bit on this one, right?
That to me, okay, I'm no jury consultant, but if the longer they take, the more it seems like there may be an acquittal. If they were all convinced, all 12 of them,
Frankly, I assume that we're not going to go too much into this because I know it's not a politics show, but I assume that any judgment rendered against a former president
yes.
in a groundbreaking historical case, people are probably going to take a little bit.
I don't know. I'd just go throw the book at him. But that's me.
They'd take one look at you and
I would never have gotten on that jury.
Not even close to the jury.
YouTube, speaking of YouTube, has rolled out free games. They call them Playables. It's kind of like Lunchables, only for games. And just as bad for you. They announced yesterday their collection of lightweight free games will start appearing in the YouTube app for all users, in addition to on the YouTube homepage. They're not paid downloads, and there are no in-app purchases. So that, I guess, is good. It's one of the ways they're going to get this on Apple's app store and the YouTube app in Apple. What's the point of it? Well, I don't know. Angry Birds Showdown, Words of Wonders, Cut the Rope. They're all pretty old, kind of junky games. Trivia Crack. Would you like to play a little Trivia Crack? Wonder if we can play
Trivia Crack?
Okay, it's it's a little play on words. Yeah, Trivia Crack. You got a problem with that? Is it not on the desktop? Maybe it's only on here. Or maybe it's just not rolled out yet. Yeah, I don't see it. Do you see it? Anybody see it on there? Because I'd love to play Trivia Crack.
I think you should just keep repeating Trivia Crack.
I think it's Trivia Crack. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, I don't see it yet. So I guess we're going to get it. Yeah, it's funny. YouTube is worth paying for. I hate to say it, but it's worth paying for. Because I don't want to see all those ads. There's a lot of ads. And every time you try to use an ad blocker on YouTube, they find a way to get you.
There's workarounds to that, though, you know?
Yeah, but the latest one is YouTube, if it sees an ad blocker, will skip to the end of the video.
No, it's more, the VPN trick?
What's the VPN trick?
If you come from, there's certain countries where if you come from there, YouTube can't serve you ads because there's no ad deals there.
Ah.
Like Estonia and stuff like that. So
say I'm watching YouTube in Estonia.
Yep.
That seems. Do you get a lot of Russian language programming? It seems like I don't know.
It's still going to be your algorithm.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to pay YouTube on that account. They got me there. I think they got me.
You know what peeves me is that I'm Amazon Prime, and now I have to pay extra for not getting ads and video. That pisses me off.
Ridiculous.
I immediately gave him an extra whatever bucks because I don't want ads. Which is exactly why Twit is faltering, by the way.
Yes.
Lisa gets so mad at me when I skip we're watching TV and I intentionally pause, go do some stuff, and then start the show like 20 minutes in so I can skip the ads. And she gets mad at me. She says, "You make your living on ads. What are you doing?" I said, "That doesn't mean I have to watch them."
That's right.
If you would just please do me a favor, join Club Twit so I don't have to get yelled at in my own home.
Yes, please.
That's the real reason. $7 a month. You get ad-free versions. No more ads on any of our content. You get video on stuff like the Hands on Macintosh, Hands on Windows shows, the Ultimate Linux show. We've got the Home Theater Geeks with Scott Wilkinson. You get video for all those shows. These are club specials. What else? You get access to the Discord, which is a really nice community. A very smart, interesting, sharp, funny people. The kind of people you hear on our shows are also in our club. And it's a great hang. And it's all of this is only $7 a month. Plus, it makes a huge difference in our bottom line. We are right now, I don't like to do these scare things because I feel like a TV preacher. But I also want to be honest with you. We are facing at this point the imminent closure of our studio because we can't afford it. With your help, maybe we could keep it open. twit.tv/clubtwit. Well, at least I want to keep doing these shows, but we do need you to join because the advertising.
I got books to sell, people.
Yeah. How's Jeff going to sell his books?
Keep going.
How's Paris going to keep up in Chortle skirts? It's not. You've got to. $7 a month.
Stop, Leo. Stop. You could pay. You wouldn't hear this. You see, that's the best benefit. You wouldn't hear any of that right then.
I'm going to hover.com.
If you pay for Club, if 5 to 10% of you guys pay for Club Twit, we could hire a man to hit Leo with a big stick anytime he says something.
I will do it. I will do it. I think I can buy chortleskort.com. I'm just going to check here. Well, I don't know. It should be Chortle Skort or Chortle Skirt. Because I don't know both.
I do think Chortle Skort is funnier. Both I think are bad. But if we're comparing them, Chortle
there is a
Skort
thing as a skort.
Objective.
There's a skort, right?
Yes, a skirt short.
Which is a terrible name too. Chortle.
Oh, it's terrible.
Should
and
it be
I think that's
Chortle
what
dash skort or just Chortle?
No.
One word, Chortle Skort.
If you can't get chortleskort.com, then the idea is ruined.
Sorry, there was a problem finding
think,
suggestions for you. What? Let me do .com.
As the going gets tougher, I'd like to re-up. We could do a 24-hour Twit donate-a-thon.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. We might have to do it out of the local Chuckle Hut, but we'll try.
It could be a Chuckle Hut virtual program.
Yeah. Here's chortleskort.com is available. $17.99.
I'm shocked.
I think it would be. I have fancypants.com. They could go together.
That's true. It could be a subdomain.
Yeah. Fancy Pants and Chortle Skort.
Chortle Skirt.
Do you own fancypants.com?
Yeah. Don't ask.
Why did you? Okay, yeah. No, why? I got to know why.
Are you sure? You own fancypants.com?
Why?
Because it redirects to something that I don't think is yours.
Somebody must have gotten it. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Sorry. Stop. Don't do it, kids.
It could be worse.
I mean, it's not bad. It's just...
It's not.
I might have let
they're wearing a skort.
Maybe
fancypants.com does go to a woman wearing a skort.
I might have maybe let it lapse.
What is the yellow thing she's holding?
Oh, it's a tennis ball.
Oh.
It's a tennis ball.
Really?
Okay.
Let me log into Hover and see, because maybe I did. Maybe I gave it up. That would be terrible. I registered it in the early days because my ex-wife...
You thought it was going to be big.
...wanted to do a business where she would sell pants that were fancy. That's all I can say. They were fancy pants. And so it seemed to me that was the natural name for the website. But maybe I let it lapse. Sometimes, in a divorce, you lose stuff, and maybe I lost.
Does she still own it? Maybe that's
no. I kept it. That was in the settlement. I'm keeping fancy pants. No, I don't think she wants. I don't think she honestly. She probably didn't even know that I had registered it. But
guys, are we still in the Google changelog?
And that's the Google changelog. Thank you, Paris, for keeping us.
The universe is back
on track,
aligned. This is super alignment now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't own fancy pants anymore. You know, I did at one point a few years ago go through a lot. See, look at all these. I own such a ridiculous number of domains.
I do feel like every man I know goes through an owning a lot of domains phase, but that maybe says more about me than
I have. At one point, remember, I was going to create a TikTok competitor called LipLock. I still own liplock.live. Never really
That's not how I thought that was going to be spelled, to be honest.
Maybe that's why I own it. That's about only the only
I was going to start a business of criticism on Twitter. I owned twitcrit.com.
Ooh.
I let that go.
Oh. It is still. It's so easy to create a domain name. Why not just do it? Don't go. Apparently people are going to that site. Don't go. Maybe you could bloop that. How about blooping?
It's not just
porno.
a woman wearing a tennis skirt in a suggestive manner. I mean, it just looks a little.
Well, the name is a little creepy.
Oh,
they sell pants.
Yeah.
Okay. Fancy pants. Maybe that wasn't.
That they do.
Yeah. I think it's funny because they made the business out of it. Their pants aren't as fancy as the pants we were going to sell.
Definitely not.
We were going to have like
mid-level pants.
We were going to do like hammer pants.
You could do like Jinkos.
Harem pants with like flowers and like that. Yeah.
Jinkos.
Hey, do you shop at Shein or Temu or any of those?
Nope.
No.
Do you?
No.
I feel like the elders are doing
It's where you buy your fancy pants.
Well, it is interesting. I was Temu, Temu, which is attempting to take over from Alibaba. These are all Chinese kind of gym crack sites. I don't know what.
I'm sorry. I just Googled.
There's too much crack in this episode.
Fancy pants. It's okay. It's safe. Just Google Temu fancy pants.
Do they have them?
Oh, they are very fancy. They are so fancy.
See, maybe Temu really jumped on the fancy pants craze.
They might have. You see what you lost.
Is this it?
What did you do? No. Google. I said, listen to me. Listen to what I tell you.
I don't have Google.
Google. Oh, jeez.
I searched for. Is that what you mean when you say Google? Search the internet.
You Google.
For?
You search it. You search the internet.
Fish scale bronzed flare leg elegant high waist pants.
Oh,
Slim pants
nice.
women's clothing is what comes up.
Very, very nice. Well,
very fancy.
The reason I bring it up, a couple of things. One is Temu has decided to advertise not to the big cities, but to the flyover states and the smaller towns. They think that is going to be where their money is. And, of course, they are becoming a big competitor, not just to Alibaba, but to Amazon. Louise Matsakis with her piece in the Big Technology blog, how Shein and Temu snuck up on Amazon. The Chinese-owned platforms represent the biggest threat to its e-commerce empire in living memory. And we know Louise. She's been on the show. We love her stuff. Shein reportedly earned $45 billion last year. PDD Holdings, which is the parent company of Temu, said its revenue surged more than 130% in the first quarter. It's now the most valuable e-commerce company in China. Temu had 47 million monthly active users in the U.S. in April. Shein had 29 million. Amazon only 66 million, down from 70 million a year ago, according to Sensor Tower. So this is kind of interesting. The average the reason I asked is the average American Shein shopper is female, in her early 30s, earns roughly $65,000 a year. See, you're too young. You're too young. Temu's fastest growing demographic, consumers between the ages of, and this is for you, Jeff, 55 to 64, leading younger people to make fun of their older relatives for becoming Temu victims. Morgan Stanley found that the majority of Temu's customers are also women, and more than half make less than 50,000. So I guess Shein's upscale and Temu's downscale. I don't know. It's an interesting story. Louise covers this. She's actually covered Amazon for years.
Benedict Evans has been following their numbers. I write in his newsletter. He's been following them for a year and a half, just watching this happen.
Temu spent $2 billion on Instagram and Facebook ads last year. You have to spend that's a lot of ads.
I will say, I just did an informal poll of my skee-ball team group chat, which is almost all women in their early 30s, and the consensus about Temu is they don't use it, and, quote, it scares me, is the response from multiple of them.
How about Shein?
I'll ask. I don't think so either, though. Shein, I feel like, is more of a Gen Z or lower.
Yeah, I think you're right. Last February, Temu was reportedly running approximately 9,400 Facebook ads at the same time, while Shein was running 2,200 at the same time. So watch out. It's very interesting to see these companies, and both want you to, and I keep seeing Temu ads. One of the reasons I paid attention to this. They want you to download the app. That's the big thing, right? Get that app on your phone. So go ahead and kill TikTok. We got Shein and Temu to spy on us. No problem. BuzzFeed is clashing with its newest investor, Vivek Ramaswamy, who now owns a little more than 8% of BuzzFeed, says he wants to see more commentators like Tucker Carlson and Charles Barkley on the site. Jonah Peretti has already rejected some of Ramaswamy's requests, according to the New York Times, setting up a clash between the two men.
Poor Jonah.
It is also just, obviously Vivek is making these points just to be an instigator, get more attention on him, because it bears no grounding in reality when you think about BuzzFeed's audience, which the audience for BuzzFeed's content is overwhelmingly younger women. Like, those are the people who are doing BuzzFeed quizzes. Those are the people who have the app. Those are the people who read any of the things on BuzzFeed.com.
That's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So those people are not going to want to watch Tucker Carlson.
But they like bow ties. They like men in bow ties, I heard.
Maybe.
Ramaswamy is pushing BuzzFeed to add 3 new members to its board of directors to hone its focus on audio and video content and to embrace greater diversity of thought. You know what that means. Yeah. According to a copy of his letter shared with the New York Times, he recommended BuzzFeed cut staff significantly. Cutting around the edges will not work, wrote Mr. Ramaswamy. You require a complete ground-up rethink of every single piece of content being produced at the company. This is so annoying. Where did Ramaswamy make his money? He invested in pharma, right? He didn't create any drugs. He was an investor and made some money in pharma. And then made a name for himself by making it to the Republican debates and running for president, even though he didn't have a chance in hell. He's also got a podcast or a YouTube or something.
It's also very funny that he's arguing. I mean, again, I think it's ridiculous for any of us to try and take any of this seriously, because obviously he's just doing this to be a political agitator. But BuzzFeed has already tried the approach of attempting to appeal to conservatives and different areas of the right. There was that whole era when they hired, I'm forgetting his last name, Benny Johnson, I think, like a far-right, extremely online guy, and had him writing articles for BuzzFeed until it came out that he was a prolific plagiarist, and then had to fire him.
Jeez. Oh, God. So the new thing, you've heard about debunking, and actually Micah's going to cover this tomorrow on Tech News Weekly. The new thing is pre-bunking, according to the Washington Post. Election officials around the world are adopting pre-bunking campaigns as AI and other threats jeopardize voting. The idea is, like a vaccine, you expose people to weakened doses of misinformation paired with explanations to help the public develop, quote, mental antibodies to recognize and fend off hoaxes in a heated election year. You think this will work?
But the thing is, it's not about belief. It's not even about facts. I argue, it's about a lack of belonging and the vulnerability to be pulled into a cult or an insurrection.
That's what Hannah Arendt said.
Exactly.
Right?
I totally agree, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think that the reason why people fall into conspiracy theories is because it gives them a sense of community, and it gives them a worldview that in many cases affirms them and their own beliefs as special or unique or adding value in a way that the world doesn't understand. And that is a very difficult thing to combat.
Yeah, and when they tell a pollster a crazy thing, when they put their flag upside down, when they scream something, they're signaling that belonging.
And they get to own the libs, and there's nothing better than owning the libs.
Nothing better than that.
Our friends at the Internet Archive have been under DDoS attack for the last few days.
Yeah, it's been long.
Since Sunday. Tens of thousands of fake requests per second. Brewster Kahle, the founder and digital librarian at the Internet Archive, says, thankfully, the collections are safe, but we're sorry that denial of service attack has knocked us offline intermittently during the last 3 days. With the support from others and the hard work of staff, we're hardening our defenses to provide more reliable access to our library. Support the Internet Archive. That's all I can say. It's amazing what it does. It's such a valuable thing. I donate monthly, and anything you could do to help would be much appreciated. But I did not know this, but cyber attacks, this is from archive.org, are increasingly frequent against libraries, including the British Library, the Solano County Public Library in California, the Berlin Natural History Museum, and Ontario London's Public Library, all victims of DDoS attacks of late. That's anti-democratic. That's not good. And finally, before we go to our break, I want you to explain this to me. Huge Google search document leak reveals inner workings of ranking algorithm. This is from Search Engine Land. Danny Goodwin writing, thousands of documents which appear to come from Google's internal Content API warehouse were released March 13th on GitHub by an automated bot called Yoshi CodeBot. Then co-founder of a SEO firm, Spark Toro, Rand Fishkin, saw it and wrote an analysis of it. It apparently tells you how Google's PageRank is working these days. And SEOs are thrilled because it means they can do a better job of improving your search ranking. But I read it, and maybe you know better as the author of What Will Google Do, Jeff, but it feels like this is what we always thought Google did. Kind of.
Google also confirmed that the documents are real.
Okay.
Within the last hour.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So links matter. Link diversity and relevance are key. PageRank is very much still alive within Google's ranking features. PageRank for a website's homepage is considered for every document. Now, Google spokespeople in the past have said links are not a top 3 ranking factor, but links do matter quite a bit, and they may not. Danny says they've lied, that they are important. Successful clicks matter. If you want to rank well, you need to keep creating great content and user experiences based on the documents. Google uses a variety of measurements, including bad clicks, good clicks, longest clicks, and unsquashed clicks. You need to drive more.
Which is notable because Google representatives in the past had said that clicks are not don't play into this at all.
Right. So you know what? I kind of give Google a pass on lying to us because there's a very brisk and somewhat shady SEO business in the world designed.
Well, that's what ruined the web.
Yeah, to make sites
when
rank
Google
higher
gets
than they
blamed
deserve.
for ruining the web.
Right.
In a sense, it's true because people are trying to fool Google, and that's why they put up all this crap.
So Google does not want you to know exactly how it works because it just makes it easier to game it. And we don't want people to game it, right?
Right.
Anyway, if you're interested, certainly if you're in the SEO business, you should read this. Fishkin's big takeaway, brand matters more than anything else. If there were one universal piece of advice, Fishkin wrote, I had for marketers seeking to broadly improve their organic search rankings and traffic, it would be, quote, build a notable, popular, well-recognized brand in your space outside of Google search. In other words, don't try to fake it, make it.
No, that's private. That's what private equity's thing was. They bought all like the big stuff, and then for that
because
capital,
then it'll
exactly
rank
for that
higher.
reason.
Yeah. They bought it for the brand, cut off all the people who worked
Right, cut off
there,
the value, but keep
and
the
then
brand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
maximize the profit.
Anyway, there's a lot more read.
Can I do one story?
Yes.
Line 89. Good reporting by the Washington Post, because I know this story irritates all of us. TikTok being banned by our dear government. TikTok offered a pretty amazing deal through the feds. They said that they would let federal officials pick its U.S. board of directors, would give the government veto power over each new hire, would pay an American company that contracts with the Defense Department to monitor its source code.
It even offered a kill switch.
Kill switch. And they turned that down.
The Biden administration declined.
That's wild.
Isn't it?
Which just shows you that the TikTok ban has nothing to do with the actual safety of Americans or American
excellent
thought.
Reporting by Drew Harwell at the Post.
Drew's good.
Yep.
It's a political action.
Wow. Talk about proving it. Jeez.
And it's going to lose Biden votes of youth.
So stupid.
I don't get it. I don't get it all around.
This confirms what we've been saying, frankly. We didn't see a reason to shut down TikTok. And where else are you going to see parents dancing like it's the 80s?
It's pretty good. This will get parents.
There's nowhere else on the internet for you to see that.
Well, okay.
There's video if you go down.
If I go down, there's a video of what, parents dancing?
I love that this is in the dance section of the New York Times.
Is it it is. It's in the dance section. How funny. How funny. Maya Salam, TikTok can add a new skill to its resume, Disco Time Machine. In viral videos, parents are asked by their adult children, oh God, please don't ask me, as they would have,
Leo.
Back in the day, the 1984 sonic earworm Small Town Boy by the British synth pop band Bronski Beat. I don't think we had them in the 80s. Most posts are tagged hashtag Mom Dance Challenge, Dad Dance Challenge, or 80s Dance Challenge. God.
You don't even need the sound up for them. They're funny enough without the sound.
But where?
There's some clicks there, aren't there?
Okay, let me see if I can
take it down.
Let me see if I can find. Here's a TikTok. She couldn't believe she got 2 million views. 80s.
Oh, that's her responding to it.
Yeah. Let's go to the original. Valerita.
What did you do to your? Did you see your ad blocker? On the New York Times story, there's video on the story.
Is there really?
Yeah. Well, you mess up the web.
Well,
where do you see it?
It's right there. Hold on, let me go.
This is great content, guys.
I'm putting it in the chat.
This is what grandpas do. Yeah, see, well, look, you'll see it. It's right there. No, it's not there. I don't see it. No,
all right, it's on. It's in the Discord. You old coot, you.
You old coot. Ditching.
That's called a mouse.
All right.
You can move it
today,
up and down to scroll.
Told my mom to. It's not doing.
Oh my God, Leo!
How does the internet work?
You need Gemstar. It'll record it for you.
The real problem is I'm on Linux and Firefox, and it just won't let me do this. It just won't. It says, no, you're not going to play that video.
Oh, you're useless.
Useless. You're useless.
You're just so stubborn about this stuff. If you would just live la vida Google, everything would be okay. But you're all
one more time. Let's play some music here. I told my mom to show me some moves from the 80s. She kicked off her... Why did you put this in the show notes? Who the hell cares about somebody's mom dancing? Why is this important in any way?
Yeah, why is this... I don't get this one, Jeff, to be honest.
Oh, okay. I thought it was funny. I thought you'd actually be amused by old people acting weird, but I guess they're not old enough.
She's younger than me.
Yeah, she is. All right, well... I try.
Pick another one,
Listen,
Jeff. You get many of them. Pick you two young Chortle shorts. Pick a
Stop.
Jessica Lesson in the Atlanta. Oh, you already did this one. Media companies are making a huge mistake.
Well, Meta has a new advisory group for its AI. Who do you think they picked?
Mark Zuckerberg?
All white men.
All white men, of course. Because no one knows better than white men how AI should behave. Patrick Collison, he's from Stripe. He was a founder of Stripe. Nat Friedman, he founded 2 startups, led GitHub as CEO. I remember him at GitHub. Toby Lütke, he's the CEO of Shopify. And Charlie Songhurst, just because he's got the greatest name. Former general manager of global corporate strategy at Microsoft. He ran the Yahoo acquisition and commercial deal and drove the Skype acquisition. Okay, these guys, if anybody knows more about AI than these guys, I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, the white guys, they
are
the
not
world.
just white.
Stop fighting it.
They're all wearing puffy vests. This is a villain's lineup of VC types. These are just Mark's friends. That's what this is, right?
Yeah.
Friends of Mark. What else?
But the New York Times also declares that AI has made Mark Zuckerberg popular again in Silicon Valley, along with his new haircut and his new wardrobe. He's the new Zuck.
Okay. I don't think Ed liked him much.
Ed has a 2-parter on him.
Ed's bet a lot of lines on Zuck. All right, let's take a little break. When we come back, picks of the week. We wrap this thing up for another fabulous Wednesday of This Week in Giggles. I guess I already did give the plug for Club Twit. That's where I would normally put this. Just a reminder, we
do it in context, which is good. When people are just feeling they don't want you to say silly things to Paris.
Should I just drop it and just say, forget it, just do what you want? I mean, I feel really, I don't like to beg.
You got to sell.
No, I don't think you should, Leo, because if you're not being, frankly, it'd be duplicitous to pretend like everything's fine.
Right.
I mean, people
I want to be
who
honest.
listen to this show and love you and love the various shows on Twit are going to feel shocked and surprised and sad when you announce the network is shutting down.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm trying to forestall. A, I don't want to shut down the network, but B, I want to let you know. So if I do shut it down because we just don't have any money, you won't go, wait a minute, what? Why didn't you tell us? But it's also, I mean, if I were a listener, I would go, shut up. Who cares? Go away. I'm not going to give you money just because you keep asking me for money. If you're one of those people, give us money. Understand. I feel your pain. I understand. I don't like to do it. I don't want to do it. If you want to join the club, it's a great bunch of people. That's the real reason to do it. It's a good community. You're joining a group of people who are tech enthusiasts who want to kind of hear these conversations. There aren't many people left who would listen to a 3-hour podcast. You're the few, the proud, the lonely, I guess. I don't know. We love you and we appreciate your support. That's, I guess, really what I mean. Paris, what's your thing of the week?
I got 2 things, one of which is a small anecdote that leads me to wanting e-bike recommendations. And
I can tell
prefacing this up top because I put a video in the chat, a couple messages up that I think you might need to download in order to play. But the short version is my friend is a huge bike lover. He rides his Van Moof to work every single day and everywhere. He's put like 5,000 miles on it in the last couple of years.
Wow.
And it exploded this week, basically.
But it wasn't an e-bike. It was just a regular bike.
No, it was an e-bike. It was a Van Moof.
Oh,
he was riding
that's
it
like
to
the
work.
top of the line e-bikes.
Suddenly, top of the line.
Although they are bankrupt now, so.
He was, he was riding it to work and suddenly black smoke started pouring out of it. So he pulled over, got off it, ran away and called 911.
Oh, that's too bad.
Smoke continued to pour out of it until the fire department got in there and they were trying to cut the bike off or the battery off the bike.
So that's the problem with Van Moofs.
And it
because to look gorgeous, they put the battery inside the bike. But that means if there's something goes wrong with the battery, you're stuck. All the e-bikes I have, you can pop the battery off. And if it's burning, you throw it away.
Yeah, I mean, my e-bike, a Wing, same thing. You can pop the battery off and throw it away.
Oh, you have an e-bike. You have an e-bike.
I do, but my e-bike is kind of crappy. And I'm fine with that. I don't use it every single day. I'm not putting thousands of miles on it. But I've been trying to help him find a new one. And he's looking for like a luckily he had insurance, so he's getting reimbursed for it. But he's going to buy something that isn't a Van Move because they're out of
they're gone.
commission now. They're
Which is
bankrupt.
sad. They're beautiful.
But he's looking for like a $3,000 to $4,000 e-bike, Bosch or Mahler or a similar motor, one that's maybe class 2, could maybe go 25 miles an hour and has like front suspension or like fenders and can be fitted with.
Oh, he's too fancy for me.
What do you like?
Fancy for me. I ride Rad Power bikes. They're less expensive. I really like my Rad Power.
I mean, Rad lives in that area. Look at that.
Yeah, well, all e-bikes are expensive. We have a Specialized at $7,000. Our kid has that. But I like Rads, and I just think that they're really simple and really good. But if he bought a Van Move, he is in a much higher category.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing, because he got really used to it.
I keep reading great reviews. Is it Electric? Who is doing all the reviews?
Oh, Electric, I think, does have some of them.
And they've recently reviewed some really nice e-bikes that have very much tempted me. I do like, so in New York, you may not want a detachable battery because they're worth something and people might steal it.
Well, I mean, I have a detachable battery, and the thing is, to get it out of the bike, you have to have a key to get it out.
Right.
So
I mean, I think
like
that's enough for me. But yeah, let me see where I read. I've been reading some really good e-bikes that made me want an e-bike. Consumer Reports, our friends at Consumer Reports, have some recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, I sent him some of that. I think he's going to go try out a Specialized, but for some reason, Specialized can't sell their bikes physically in New York City.
What?
Because something about them doesn't meet the New York City regulations. So he went to the Specialized showroom, and they're like, you have to go to New Jersey to try them out.
Well, everything's legal in New Jersey, so that's
everything is legal in New Jersey, and New Jersey and New York have a great history of going to New Jersey to do illegal stuff and then coming back to New York with it.
They like the bike. That's interesting, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Consumer Reports recommendations are bikes I've never heard of. Yeah. But I still sent him that.
There are a lot. It's a big category all of a sudden. I love e-bike. Any e-bike is great. I
know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
My actual pick this week is my weekend plans are to watch this new series, or I guess like kind of a short docu-series coming out in HBO called Ren Fair.
Oh, no.
This weekend. This is by the same guy who did the documentary Some Kind of Heaven, which is one of my favorite movies that's ever existed. And I'm just really excited. It's like a deep look at Ren fairs.
Not just any Ren fairs, but the Texas Ren Fair.
Yes.
Did you ever go to one, Paris?
No, but I want to.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought you were a Ren Fair regular.
Oh, no.
I mean, I agree. It seems like I should be there.
Yeah.
Well, you went to what's the place where you have dinner and eat the chicken legs?
Oh, Medieval Times. I have
Medieval Times. You've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Medieval Times was incredible. Actually, an incredible show, a wonderful experience, a real hoot and a half.
Well, the problem with the Ren Fair is you can't laugh too loud because people take it very serious.
Oh yeah, there's a whole cosplay thing. That's been around forever, before even like the cosplay you see at Comic-Con and stuff. There are people who do Civil War reenactments.
That's LARPing, not cosplay.
Oh yeah,
is that more LARPing, live action role playing? Yeah, but LARPing implies to me people with foam rubber swords pretending to be knights.
Fake guns playing Confederacy? Come on.
The Confederacy.
Yeah, that is LARPing.
Battles.
I'm sorry.
They're giant. They sleep on the
ground.
ground.
That's a LARP. That's what LARPing is.
All right. Those people are.
Let me read you
dedicated.
the description for this, though, because I think it sounds very, very good, especially as someone who's into Succession, Leo. For half a century, George Coulomb has reigned over the Texas Renaissance Festival with an iron fist. Now he's ready to spend the last years of his life on a quest for a romantic companion. But before he retires, King George must choose an employee to take over his crown.
Oh, it is.
Blending documentary variety with fantasy, Ren Fair invites you behind the curtain of the famed Texas Festival to witness a tense and comical succession drama in which the employees imagine themselves in a real-life Game of Thrones. It premieres June 2nd at 9 p.m. and I will be watching.
You know what that looks like? It looks exactly like the bad lip reading of Game of Thrones. Did anybody see that?
No.
That was like one of the best bad lip readings.
I love bad lip reading.
I love those.
It's basically this.
Yeah, if they just added some sound to it, but I left the sound off. Let's, should we watch just a little bit of the Game of Thrones bad lip reading?
The top one, the Medieval Funland.
Medieval Funland?
Yeah. That's the one.
Okay. Okay, let's. I think we can watch a little bit without getting in trouble. This is a trailer. Medieval Land, Fun Time World, a bad lip reading of Game of Thrones from BLR Films.
People, we got 1 week until the park opens, all right? So let's run through it all again. This time, please.
Joust for fun.
Get off my case. It's hot in this get up, you chowd.
Meet Eddie.
7 days to get this place ready. If I don't make it work, I'm right back to the finger painting college.
So this is real footage from the Game of Thrones.
I beat my tongue. Someone get the Filipino employee back on that horse.
Oh, I love it. Cersei's not happy.
The best medieval theme park in
Makes
the
me
world.
want to watch Game of Thrones
The
again.
only problem is that a lot of the employees here work about as hard as a bucket of apples.
Bobby P.
Beer and a ton of powdered donuts. 'Cause it's powerful, yeah. Powdered sugar.
JoJo.
This really is edited like a.
It's quite good.
Yeah,
it's quite well done. This is why I pay for YouTube, right? That stuff's worth it. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
I hope they make
creativity.
They make money, right? I'm sure they make good money on doing that stuff.
The BLR guys, they actually moved to Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, this is kind of the dirty little secret of all of this stuff is the companies make the most money. They're the ones really raking it in. Let's see. Here's a recommendation in our Discord just for you of an e-bike. Well, just for your friend of an e-bike that I guess our Discordians like a lot.
Yes, Priority.
Priority. I never heard of this. The most progressive e-bike with more power and more comfort at unmatched prices. Okay. Chocolate Milk Minisip has one. Oh, it's a belt drive. Yeah, see, I've never tried a belt drive.
Ooh, that's fun.
It's as opposed to the traditional chain drive. Oh, they're not cheap. That is nice looking, though. See, I can't do this because every time I do this, I go, ooh.
I can't believe how many are on sale. I was in Best Buy yesterday buying a UPS, and they're selling like 10 different models of e-bikes.
Yeah.
I was amazed.
Well, it's like a EV, an electric vehicle. As soon as you do it, you go, oh, where have you been all my life? This is great. Jeff Jarvis, pick of the week.
Oh, let's see here.
Let's do Canva Matt Hamilton.
Okay, let's do it. Good. All right.
I do like this one. So this is Canva
Developers Conference that was in San Francisco this week, I think.
Boy, I'm sorry I missed this. Now, I presume these people aren't Canva employees.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it gets good, though. Wait, because somebody from the audience gets involved.
Well, kind of.
Sir. Yes, I'm talking to all of you up there. You guys know what's happening?
Okay, someone from the audience. Sure.
Yeah. Who is you? A CIO from an enterprise team, and I have some doubts.
Security. Oh boy, he just did a flip.
The dancers in this really commit.
They do. They got paid. The dancers took the paid money. San Francisco Ballet.
Are they from the San Francisco Ballet?
No, I don't know. I would just imagine.
But this is actually not badly done. I mean, it's sad that it's in the service of Canva Enterprise, but
yeah, this has a rapping third grade teacher energy.
Yeah, rapping third grade
I like
teacher.
that the Threads post says this is Lin-Manuel Miranda's fault because I agree.
Yeah, he made this okay.
But is it likely for you to integrate all of our systems easily?
Actually, matter of fact, you see.
It is very Hamilton. What is it that it makes it Hamilton-y?
It keeps going.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a rap about a non-conventional rap subject, I guess.
Is it really
safe and secure?
Is this super white? Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
It's just super not good.
It's better than
I think you need
an
to have,
AI could do.
The program. Yeah, you need to have the AI write you a rap.
Could an AI do this good?
Better. I mean,
let's see.
No, let's not. Anyway, Canva.
Rap about Canva.
Canva may say, "Oh yeah, you don't like it, but we got more mileage out of this thing than anything we've ever done before. You're playing it.
They sure did.
Got people to think
But
about."
is it the mileage that someone's going to see this and be like, "Yeah, I want to spend enterprise level of money for this product.
You're grotesquely. I don't know. I would have enjoyed it if I'd been at the conference. That's just me. Do you want to talk about the top 50 podcasts? I'm pretty sure we're not in that list.
I was about to say, aren't they all just This Week in Tech podcasts?
Yeah, I wish. We used to be easily, but that was in a much smaller universe.
I'm going to rant that this is the ruin of the wonderful thing that we love, podcasts.
This comes from Edison,
Joe
which is
Rogan,
good. Edison's stuff is reliable.
Joe Rogan, Crime Junkie.
The Daily. New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelce. That's the Taylor Swift.
Dateline NBC, that's no effing podcast.
Right. This American Life, same thing. Call Her Daddy. By the way, Spotify paid her, Alexandra Cooper, $20 million a year for 3 years. They paid Joe Rogan $500 million, it's rumored.
This is the ruin of podcasting. It's mass media. It's the mass ruining it. That's all I wanted to say.
Is it ruined, or is it just what happens when it's successful? It gets
exploited, yeah, but they take it over, and then they ruin it, and then they get bored with it. And
Ben Shapiro, number 13. Stuff you should know.
I will say, I feel a bit gross about how many of these podcasts are like true crime ones. I think that it makes me feel really
My
icky.
Favorite Murder.
The consumerization, the commodification of people's deaths.
Yes.
Very few of these come from independents, by the way. And I think that's the big story.
That's the problem.
You got to be a big player to play at this.
What I'm saying is this sets the goal improperly and wrongly.
Yeah.
It was never meant to be a mass medium. It shouldn't have been a mass medium. It should have been a human scale. That's where all the good stuff is. And this view ruins this wonderful medium. And advertisers now think, well, I got to have all of this. I'm not going to advertise in a little tiny podcast that has really loyal audience. No.
The way they know, by the way, there's no way to know how many downloads a podcast has. This comes from a survey by Edison of 5,000 people. And they asked them age 13 over, they asked them what they listened to.
Which is a ridiculously small sample when you consider the incredible huge range of podcasts that exist.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just my rant.
It doesn't bother me. I know we're not in the top 100 anymore. We used to be, in the top 10 for a long time, but that's fine. Times have changed, and we may be on the way out. This may just be the end of the line for it.
Well, that's the problem. You see, if the advertisers are still with you, you'd be as successful as ever. The audience is still here with you.
We had a good run.
Yeah,
we had a great run. I'm not complaining. Maybe some of the people who might lose their jobs might be complaining, but you can go get a job with Joe. He's got lots of money. You don't want to work
I love
for
it
Joe
when you
Rogan?
can hear the laugh from off screen. It really brings me joy.
Just sew an upside down flag on your jean jacket and you'll be in.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up. Before we go, what is your prognosis? We will hear in the next few days a verdict from the trial of...
Oh, no. We're not doing this.
I want to know what you think.
I don't have an informed opinion.
That's fine. You don't have to. That's an appropriate
I just saw the
response.
TV, which is on
I recuse
the lower
myself.
third.
I don't watch enough cable news to have
I'm going to
take
say
on
there's
this.
going to be a not guilty. There's going to be at least a hung jury at the very best.
It won't be acquittal.
Huh? Won't be acquittal. It'll be a hung jury.
Hung jury. Yeah. I just saw on the lower third on the TV that's always on MSNBC, one juror was seen nodding with the Trump defense.
Yeah.
So, breaking news.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Everybody's reading the tea leaves, including us. Thank you all for joining us. I'm sorry I interjected that little political thing at the end. I was just curious because I know Jeff's a famous liberal, and I'm just curious what he thought. Mastodon.social @Jeff Jarvis. He is, of course, the emeritus director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at this Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City.
You fooled me there.
University of New York, GutenbergParenthesis.com. New book coming out soon, The Web We Weave. I'm reading it. I'm loving it. Add the galleys.
Thank you so much,
You're going to read it
Thank
too,
you.
Paris. It is kind of...
Would get you an actual galley
It's in the nutshell.
Yeah, I like these old print book sort
Look
of
at that.
thing.
Yeah. That is kind of an
So
old-fashioned.
pretty.
You're so old-fashioned for a Chortle Skort. Paris
I'm
Martineau.
quitting the podcast.
Yeah, that's it. That was it. I finally pushed her over the top.
Bye.
Yeah. No, please don't. Forget it. Just think I'm a jerk. That's all there is to it.
The secret third option.
Yes, the third option. He's such a jerk. Theinformation.com. She's on Signal, Martineau.01, Martineau, the nice French pronunciation and spelling. And if you have a tip, a lead, a story she should be working on, if you just want to commiserate with her for having to put up with me all this time, Martineau.01. Are you working on a big story? What are you up to?
I'm working on a medium story.
Okay.
You know.
The Jonah Peretti was a biggie. That BuzzFeed story was a biggie.
Certainly.
You might need to do a follow-up on the Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah, maybe Vivek wasn't thinking of him until he read your story and said, "Oh,
it's your fault."
Yeah,
I'm gonna go bug him.
Vivek is definitely an information reader. You can tell.
Well, he can afford it.
Always a pleasure to talk to you both and have all of you who are in our audience. We do the show every Wednesday. Around about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. The live stream is on YouTube, youtube.com/twit/live. After the fact, you can download a show from this week from twit.tv/twig. We like acronyms. twit.tv/twig. There's also a YouTube channel dedicated to This Week in Google. Best thing to do, though, of course, subscribe in your favorite podcast player. That way you'll get it automatically the minute we're done editing out all the swear words, of which there were pretty much none, right?
None.
One.
Is my fault.
You can
right?
always check the Benito section down at the bottom.
I know, Benito
there was
keeps
exactly
notes.
one.
At 2 minutes and 53 seconds in. So there you go.
2 hours, 50
Did I say it?
2 hours.
2 hours? No, we haven't even done 2.5 hours yet.
Oh, no, that was time of day. Time of day.
2
p.m.
2 p.m. and 53 minutes.
Did I do it, Benito? Was that me?
It was
Yes,
you,
that
Jeff.
was.
I'm sorry. I
It's just one, it's
apologize.
easy.
It just beeped.
I get into a...
What tone do you
Swivet.
use for that? 100 hertz, 200 hertz? What do you like there?
I don't know, we go, it's...
You just duck it?
Yeah, we duck it.
You know what I like they used to do is they'd take it and reverse it. So it sounded like you were saying something, but it was weird, right?
I think you could just put like a kind of a hee-haw. Could be fun.
Did I ever tell you how I got dumped off the BBC?
No.
I think you did one
I
point.
did, okay. I was going to say the S word, and I thought, no, I can't do that, so I said crap. And that's
They
worse.
don't like that. That's worse than
No, they hate that.
Oh.
It's worse.
See, it's all just made
I
up.
got dumped.
It's just made up. You can't say that on television. Thank you all for joining us. A special thanks to our Club Twit members. We love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you next week on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.